402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Charlie Stone again, and Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln will be joining me shortly to talk about a milestone accomplishment at Honda of Lincoln. But before I talk to Andy, I'd like to add a comment of my own. I know you have a lot of choices when buying a new or pre-owned vehicle. It was just announced that Honda of Lincoln is once again the winner for the Lincoln's Choice Award for new car dealers. It's not easy to win that award because it's all based on the highest level of customer satisfaction. I think Honda of Lincoln really is your best choice. Now let's talk to Andy.
Thanks, Charlie, and thanks for your kind words.
Andy, tell us what it takes to win an award like this.
Will do, Charlie. It's about being customer-focused. Our sales and service team have been with us for a long time, and every day, all they focus on is a 100% customer satisfaction. It's really that simple.
Maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Guys, if you're dealing with low back pain or trouble urinating, don't just live with it. These could be signs of treatable conditions. At Advanced Medical Imaging, their interventional radiologists specialize in minimally invasive procedures designed to relieve symptoms and improve your quality of life without major surgery. June is Men's Health Month. Take the step. Call Advanced Medical Imaging today to schedule a consult and find out what AMI can do for you.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 66. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Right now, it's 80 degrees.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Thursday. Away we go into Old School. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman with you for the next 3 hours here, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Old School, brought to you by the good folks over at Graham Tire Company. Appreciate them, all the work that they do for us. Graham Tire, I'm coming to see you. Need an oil change after my long road trip. Did a great job the first time. Know it'll be a great job done again the second time. Again, if you head down to Graham Tire, have an appointment for your car, whatever it is, take a picture, snap us something, let us know. Come down to the station, show us, and we can hook you up with a little ticket merch if that's something that you might like. 402-464-5685, the number 2 hour starter, Heyman Jewish. Text line, Jay, I know you're going to like this. Our guy Eric is in. Very simply, 44 greater than 43.
That's right. I had to look at it a couple of times. I had to make sure he gave me my prop.
He did.
Yeah.
Eric's about it. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
It's.
And that's no offense to 43. That's just a statement about 44.
That's right. Sometimes you just get overtaken, man. You can't go in there and ask for it. You just got to take it. T Farley's my boy. I'd take him any day of the week, though. That's my road dog.
Amen to that. Big shout out to Bach and the Black Shirt back in full effect officially this week. Could have Bach back in
Bach's
the building.
In the building. He's surviving. You know what I'm saying?
There's that point where you can toe the line between surviving and thriving. And I hope Bach is leaning toward the thriving. But these first couple weeks with another one, it is survival. I would save the fittest, but you survive anyways, no matter how fit you are for it.
Yeah, man, it can, be tough a little bit, but I think, what do you think? Do you think like once you kind of been through it once, you kind of like you have the built up callus to handle it, or you just like, if you haven't done it back to back, then you lose your all like wherewithal on how to handle these, late nights.
Oh, the baby stuff was fine. You've been through it before. You kind of know what it is you're in for. I thought the transition from 1 to 2 was harder than the transition from 0 to 1, though, in terms of number of kids. Just having to like split the attention, especially, my wife works full time as well. And when she's gone, I'm outnumbered in the mornings. I'm outnumbered sometimes on the weekend, and trying to pay requisite attention to both children is what I have found to be the most difficult part.
Yeah, but and is that because you're playing a little bit,
I'm playing zone.
You're playing a little off-ball defense,
yeah,
and you don't know who has the ball. You're the JV dude, and they're the varsity because they're working on their give and go backdoor cuts on you.
Are they ever?
Well, then that means, essentially, you need to go 3.
That hopefully is in the cards.
There
at some
you go.
Point.
That's like I told you. Heard what I told Bach. You gotta go right back in. I'm giving everybody advice I ain't do. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
But you should have done. Hindsight.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Had
man,
I known.
Hey, man, take some advice. Just keep go in there. Just keep shooting for 3.
Let me be the Jedi Master I never had.
Kirby Puckett used to say, "Hey, listen, you can't hit a home run if you don't swing at it."
True.
Yeah.
True. 402-464-5685. Any parenting advice, please continue to drop it. I do want to get to some college basketball stuff, Jay, specifically in the Big Ten and Nebraska here in this first hour of the show. First and foremost, men's basketball Wooden Award odds were released earlier this week. Number of Big Ten players on it, including the odds-on favorite right now, not a big favorite by any means, but the player with the best odds to be Wooden Award Player of the Year as of a couple days ago, Jeremy Fears Jr., point guard from Michigan State. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe I'm just a hater. Clearly, he's a good player. But if he's the best player college basketball has to offer this year, I don't know if I'm convinced on the state of the game right now.
Yeah, I think if he can be mature, if he's matured in the way he played, I think. Yeah, and also with the Michigan State guard, you're going to get more credit. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You're going to get more. And yeah, you're right. It's a bunch of unknowns. I think with the transfer portal and obviously with the draft class that we've had, you just don't know who's coming up through the pipeline next, right? And so out of all the guys that I'm looking here, he's probably the most flashiest name. And I would say that because of some of the majority of the stuff he did on the court, and then some of the stuff he did, actually on the court as well, right? And so sometimes, any attention, good or bad, is obviously, works out well. So when you look at it, like you constantly always just look at the big schools, right? And sometimes when you have 2 guys on there, it really hurts you, right? So when you look at Texas, they have 2 guys on there. When you look at UConn, they have 2 guys on there. So then it kind of like you're eating away at it from each other.
Well, sticking in the Big Ten, you also have Illinois with multiple guys.
Michigan,
the guy with the 4th best
Michigan
odds.
Michigan has 3.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they just you just lost like 5 guys.
Right.
And here you go. You got 3 more.
Well, you lost 3 guys that all had some version of a case for some major national awards last year. Lendenberg, I think, finished right behind Cam Boozer in Player of the Year voting in some respects. Daimara, one of the National Defensive Players of the Year, and Morez Johnson Jr. is in that category as well. But the Michigan one fascinates me because you have Trey McKinney, who was the guy that was involved in the no-call block charge for Nebraska at the end of that game there. He was a freshman coming off the bench last year. Then with him, you have Elliot Cadeau, who had his best season in college so far, really running the show for Michigan in that case last season. And then Brandon McCoy Jr., who comes in as a superstar freshman. That to me is, okay, Vegas thinks Michigan's still going to be pretty good. Here are the guys they think are going to be the best players on Michigan's team, which I could say the same for Illinois, who has Merkovich there with the 4th best odds, and then Stephen Vox, who ends up being a Providence transfer into Illinois. A little taller, maybe not quite as fluid as Keaton Wagler was for the Illini last year. But I don't think any of those guys are good enough right now to be the National Player of the Year, but they're going to be good, important players on teams that Vegas expects to be really good. And that to me is why, you see those 3 Michigan names and those 2 Illinois names.
Yeah, and it's more of these guys are on there based on what the team did last year versus what they, either have or could accomplish, this year. And, you got Stokes there. I'm looking on from Kansas. I mean, he's obviously the number 1 dude coming in. Will he be the player? I mean, a lot of things have to go right for any of these, either true freshmen or obviously sophomores to win it. I mean, your team has to be kicking butt. Everybody else has to be somewhat pedestrian. And then that team that you play for has to market you as the player of the year. And that's where I think you see Jeremy Fears there, where, when you look at him and say Blackwell, right? And obviously Fears is probably obviously more accomplished offensively than Blackwell based on who was around them. I mean, let's just be honest. That doesn't mean he's necessarily a better player, but you got to think Blackwell was playing with Slim Reaper, number 2, so
Nick Boyd.
part 2, the Boozer brothers. You know what I mean?
Well, Blackwell just transferred in from Wisconsin.
Oh, that's him. I'm thinking I'm thinking of what is he number 2 on Duke?
Well, Caden Boozer's number 2.
No,
Caleb Foster.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking. That's who I'm thinking of.
Gotcha.
So I stand corrected.
Happy birthday, Caleb Foster, by the way, today.
But so I'm thinking him. So I stand corrected. And Blackwell, essentially, that's another Big Ten guy too.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I remember this last year. Now I'm getting back on track with him. Is he, he's playing well. It'll be interesting to see how he does at Duke.
Yeah,
because it's different. Because I think it's a huge step up to go from Wisconsin to Duke.
Yeah, Wisconsin to Duke is a step.
Yeah.
Big Ten to ACC, probably step down consistently in terms of conference.
Yes, but Duke, it's different than when you play. You're going to be playing through Boozer, most likely, right?
See, this is where it gets wildly fascinating.
Or do you
because
think they're going to play through him, just coming right in? And
so, obviously, I've kind of tried to wrap my head around this Duke starting lineup. They have more depth they've had in a long time. And I think Blackwell has been one of the missing pieces in the backcourt. They've had some names there, but they haven't had that backcourt guy that can be the crunch time bucket getter, which I think he can be.
Right.
I don't know if Duke needs John Blackwell for the first 30 minutes of the majority of its games, but Duke has needed John Blackwell for the last 10 minutes, each of the last 3 years, essentially. He's a spot up shooter, can get to the rack and hit free throws, makes enough plays. They have enough length to cover defensively as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you look at Caleb Foster returning. He, to me, is the defensive-minded version of Jeremy Roach from a couple of years ago before Jeremy Roach transferred out to Baylor. I'm kind of done with him. Curious to see if there's a leap in Caden Boozer. He didn't shoot it well last year, but I think there's some real Trey Jones comps to be made there, year 1 to year 2. Trey Jones might have been ACC Player of the Year, but he was certainly in that conversation in year 2. I think there's potential for that in Caden Boozer. The headliner of the class, I mean, Pat Gungba comes back at center if he's able to stay healthy. The headliner, though, Jay, is a guy, Boom J, who's been playing for the Team USA U17 team, came to Duke a year early, essentially. So he'll be playing the 2 years in college. I mean, some people are putting him in the Cooper Flagg tier of prospects, more offensively than defensively. I don't know who the focal point is for Duke. With these last, 3-ish years under Shire, you've had your focal piece. Everyone else fits around them, Flagg, Boozer, et cetera, et cetera. I think Blackwell's going to fit in. I think it's a kind of an NBA concept style offense that they want to do. And it's going to be starting on the defensive end with guys that can cover for Blackwell. He's the best player on the team. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how they change it, because maybe that's something that maybe they're making a little bit of adjustments to try to get over the hump and win a national championship, right? We obviously, and Duke's always been has superstars that play team-oriented basketball, and doesn't matter who was the coach. But maybe that's what they need now. Maybe spread the wealth a little bit and then have 1 or 2 closers where you can really focus on that. Maybe that's what they felt like they didn't have last year, or what they could need this year to win it, based on when you look at the whole landscape of teams that you potentially could play.
Heck of a non-con slate for Duke again, by the way.
It'll be interesting to see just how he fits in with his game. I like his game, but Wisconsin plays somewhat different. And I just think that when you go from when you were kind of the surprise bucket getter, and then you go and you see those 2 type of dudes, and then also you're like the off guard, you know what I'm saying? So that means you're going to have wait for somebody to set the table for you. Now, obviously, they'll run different actions and stuff to get you going, but ultimately, it'd be interesting to see. And I think that odd for him to essentially be like Fears. I think it's his award to lose at this point because he doesn't have the supporting cast around him that can really eat off of it. And then also, like I said, any press is good press. He had great press at time, and he started out having really bad press, but then he started to mature a little bit, and Izzo's going for him. So if he's matured in the offseason and somehow grew his leadership ability, Michigan State will push him for Player of the Year. And if Michigan State is what they could be this year, I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, just based on his competition and the competition within those teams, it sets up really well for him.
That it does. And this is where I want to turn that conversation back to the Big Ten and to Nebraska. No Pryce Sandfort on this list. That's a guy that I thought, Jay, would have at least been, some sort of a long shot bet. I mean, that's a guy that I think could be Big Ten preseason Player of the Year alongside Fears. I don't know if I would have picked Merkovich for my guy from Illinois, but I guess fine, whatever. But if you're telling me that Juke Harris at Tennessee has better odds, I don't know if I buy that. Caleb Holt, a freshman coming in at Arizona, he's okay. He's fine. Milan Momcilovic, that's a guy that's very similar to Pryce Sandfort. What's the difference? He's at Kentucky, right? Kentucky Media Machine. Oh, they needed Milan Momcilovic. They had to throw the entire bank at him to get him there. It's the last desperation move. I get it. But Pryce Sandfort's going to be as integral, if not more integral, to Nebraska's success as Elliot Cadeau, as Isaiah Johnson, a freshman at Texas. Pryce Sandfort's just a better basketball player than Caleb Foster. Again, I say with all the love for Caleb Foster in my heart. Pryce Sandfort's a more accomplished, better player than Braylon Mullins, who hit one shot at the end of last year, essentially to redeem his lost freshman season. And JT Toppin, I think, is way too low, right? JT Toppin, I think, should be where Merkovich is, even coming off of injury.
I was just about to say that.
But Pryce Sandfort needs to be on this list.
Right. And it could work out two ways. Obviously, I think it's disrespectful for him not to be on there, especially with the way that Nebraska played and considering that he's coming back and, I expect him to be even better, right? So, and also I think Nebraska they'll probably be ranked anywhere 16 or above preseason.
I would guess Nebraska fits, in the back half of the top 25, 15 to 25 would be my guess. But
let's say safe top 20. Why wouldn't?
Yeah, that's fair.
It could really work out well for Pryce if Nebraska gets off to a hot start. Obviously, he'll play well, and you kind of come up the back end.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Now, he should be on the preseason list, and I know that does mean stuff, but I don't understand how when you have a player that played so well, and he played well in the tournament.
Yeah.
So when you talked about some of the guys of Mullins, Mullins that did some, decent stuff, after that shot, but up until that shot, he'd struggled, but he hit the shot. So that's how he got there.
And he's at UConn.
Right. He's at UConn, but that's how he had that, to be on the preseason list.
Yeah.
Well, Pryce did the dang thing all year long and in the tournament. So why wouldn't he? And so I think it's at the point again. Nebraska basketball players are somewhat overlooked all the time, and you never get the benefit of doubt. You get the opposite.
Again, it's like you said, it's preseason, doesn't matter, not that much, but kind of it does, right? Is Pryce Sandfort a guy who put money on to be Player of the Year for all of college basketball? No. Does it change the fact that he deserves a little bit more respect based on the year he had and coming off of a less major injury than some other of these guys on this list? No, absolutely not. But that to me, Jay, again, is kind of illustrative of the difference between these big national awards and even conference awards. Because Pryce Sandfort's going to be a no doubt about it preseason all Big Ten player.
Right.
Even if you just do 5 players, Pryce Sandfort is going to be on that list alongside Fears and potentially Merkovich, and we'll see who else enters that list. But I think it's just a good reminder sometimes, too, that it's hard to win these national awards. But for as good a year as Pryce Sandfort had, for all the reasons you mentioned, and for him to still not be on this list, there's a bunch of good players in college basketball. And I think Pryce Sandfort has a chance to differentiate himself. But college hoops is continually rising in the talent level. Let me ask you this.
Do you have to be like where Nebraska's at? And I can't even compare where Nebraska's program at, but I'm going to talk about this player. One of my favorite players, college or pros, is Glenn Big Dog Robinson. I mean, if he was playing right now, he would be
40 a game.
40. He was a problem with the Bucks. But you remember that Purdue game, it was like he was getting 30, 40 a night, and that was how they did it. And nobody could stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm asking you this, for a player that's at Nebraska, and you could talk about other players or, like, and I don't think anybody else prior has been on consistently on a team, potentially like this team is here. Does Pryce need to go out there instead of averaging 18? Does he need to average like 26, 27 to win the player of the year? But then
that's a huge ask.
Well, I mean,
it's a fair question.
He
but
could definitely do it, but I'm just saying, is that what somebody, but it's the same player.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's like, but then I think Pryce is probably the type of player and type of person that doesn't want to expose personal goals over the team. So, because I just looked at Glenn Big Dog Robinson right now, probably you got the benefit of the doubt, maybe preseason and all that stuff because of Purdue, but the team wasn't very good. Where Nebraska's team has a better roster of talent, as it looks like on paper, and then also their best players should be on there with not just the biggest surprise last year as far as what they were able to do and make the tournament, but what they did in the tournament. You got to think the exciting moments that they had, and as far as getting to the Sweet 16. So it's interesting.
I'm not sure if Nebraska would ever ask Pryce Sandfort to do that, except for injuries up and down the roster. Because I'm not sure
maybe for a game or two.
Oh, absolutely, and that's where I was going to get to, because Bryce Williams got tasked with doing that essentially for Nebraska. If he wasn't going to be good, you'd hope for a good Juwan Gary game, or otherwise it was over. I'm not sure Pryce Sandfort has the self-creation bag that Bryce Williams does. And so is Nebraska going to funnel enough shots to Pryce Sandfort to get him, 26, 27 points a game? Probably not. But if Pryce can add 4 more points per game at the free throw line, if he can add, 1 extra made 3 per game, if not going to happen at the free throw line, whatever. If Nebraska gets out a little bit more in transition for easy looks for him as well, there's a legitimate path to him averaging an extra 4 or 5 points a game. Then you're in that conversation. And then I think, to your point, if Nebraska is not going to ask Pryce Sandfort to self-create his way to 30 points a night, then Pryce Sandfort needs to be as good as he was in the big televised games, right? Nebraska's non-con has a few good games in it, right? We've talked about. He needs to be good in those games. But when you get your shot at Illinois, when you go on the road to Michigan State, when you play Michigan in a revenge game, you get Iowa twice again. Can you go have a big, second homecoming game and make up for the way that one went last year, right after he suffered that groin injury, right? Those are the moments that I think they're going to propel Pryce Sandfort, because you can't tell me that the Pryce Sandfort doesn't have the chance to do like Jimmer Fredette stuff, and I know BYU is a big national, media machine with the faith and everything behind it. But if that guy can get into player of the year conversation, Pryce Sandfort's playing, maybe not quite as big a role, but in a better conference with a year of production already. So there's no reason he can't work his way into All-America conversations.
Yeah, I feel the same. And it's it's one of those things. These lists are, I understand. I've been on the other side as a player, and this stuff come out. You wait for it. You played very well last year. Then now you got to start over and try to prove people wrong again and prove yourself right. So, it's something that they'll handle. I doubt he's really worried about it, because what's funny is like half of those guys that are on the list that are draft eligible, Pryce probably go higher than them in the draft, and that's all the thing that matters. So, you'd like to have it all because he's deserved it, and I think he got a really good story behind it too. So that's obviously sellable. I think is as far as like the media goes, but he starts hitting them threes, and you're right. I also think that even in the non-con, when you're beating teams up, you want to be the team's leading scorer.
Sure.
He needs to be a team leading scorer, even if it's, quick work. You want to get your, 16, 18 points a game. And then you need to have 2 or 3 games where you really light it up.
The comparison that comes to mind for me for Pryce Sandfort, if he's going to work his way into All-America status, might be Corey Kispert, potentially, from Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Now, he was a 4-year guy for the Zags, and obviously Gonzaga was doing a bunch of winning at that time. Ended up being the 15th overall pick by the Wizards in the 2021 NBA draft. But that's a guy who in his final year was a consensus All-American, was West Coast Conference Player of the Year, 2-time All-West Coast Conference Player, or All-Conference team, and then it was the All-Tournament team in 2021 as well. That's Kispert, 48% overall, 40.8% from 3, and then 82% at the free throw line. Now, those are some pretty stacked, pretty loaded Gonzaga teams that had obviously spent a lot of time building up into the limelight like they did. But Corey Kispert had some absolutely massive games for Gonzaga in that season that he was an All-American. Some of the ones that come to mind, he had 32 points, in a neutral site win over a pretty darn good Virginia team, and a big win over Auburn at a neutral site. He had 25 as well. They beat Kansas 102-90, and he had 23 points, knocked down 3 triples in that one as well. And I say Pryce Sandfort has to pick his spots, because I think if he's going to be a 40% three-point shooter again, he's probably shooting too many threes, right? Momcilovic for Kentucky last year is like a 46, 48% three-point shooter, or for Iowa State. That means you're not shooting enough. If you just for the math to work out the way Nebraska wants it to, Pryce Sandfort might actually need more shots. But what kind of shots are they? Are they in the rhythm of the offense? Are they in the flow of transition? I'm curious to see if he can maintain that volume or how high he can push his accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that picking your spots is probably the best point. And then I think for him, and now look, we're talking about him being the Big Ten Player of the Year and be All-American. I think you got to hit some, like I said, pick your spots, but then more importantly, you got to hit big shots.
Like if he hits his version of the Jamarcus Lawrence shot.
Yeah. You got to hit it, the season, you got to hit a big shot. But, I think it'll all work out for him. The team does well. I think it'll all work out for him.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I mean, like I said, Pryce Sandfort's going to start the year off on the All Big Ten preseason team. And then it's how high can you go from there? It's kind of the conversation, I think. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the show. We'll keep talking some Nebraska men's basketball. Basket Under Review, really fun college basketball site, is starting to go through its top 100 players for the year. Braden Frager, Sam Worm have already been mentioned in that top 100 and honorable mention kind of group. Assuming Pryce Sandfort isn't going to get robbed and get jobbed, he'll be on the list probably coming up soon. They're releasing it every 25 players at a time. How good can Nebraska be if Sandfort, Frager, and Orem are the 3 best players, and Nebraska has 3 of the top 125 players in the country? We'll get to that and some of what Fred Hoiberg had to say during his conversation with John Rothstein of CBS Sports earlier today. We'll do that next on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans, begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you looking for a place to host company get-togethers, team meetings, or group events? Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln is the perfect place to host your gathering, with private bays available to meet with clients while you swing the sticks and improve your game. Back 9 Golf offers traditional golf opportunities while also providing fun games and activities available for non-traditional golfers on their top-of-the-line full-swing simulators. Learn about their corporate memberships today and gather your favorite groups together at Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln, just off 14th and Pine Lake Road.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers, and someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money, and most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on Maintain X have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and save thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try Maintain X free at maintainx.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Looking for the ultimate game day spot? Arbor Axe House has everything you need. Axe throwing, cold beers, and the big game. Whether you're celebrating a win or talking trash with friends, nothing beats the rush of sticking an axe while cheering on your favorite team. Perfect for bullseye beginners and seasoned pros. Our axe throwing experts keep the fun going and the drinks flowing. Step up to the plate at Arbor Axe House. Book a lane at arboraxe.com or call 402-802-9696. Arbor Axe House on the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Husker fans, the 2026 Nebraska football season is quickly approaching, and we need you in the Sea of Red at Memorial Stadium this fall. Single game tickets for all 7 home games start at just $45 and are now available in both end zone and sideline seat locations. These tickets are only available while supplies last, so get yours today before they're gone. To purchase your Husker football single game tickets or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rolling right along, hour one of Old School. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. Not Thirsty Thursday today. Kev is out of commission, so that's all right. We will muddle through. We will soldier on. Talking some Nebraska men's basketball here in hour one of the show, brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Jay, on the Nebraska front, again, Braden Frager comes in as a top 85 player. Sam Orm gets honorable mention from the three-man crew that's writing this article for Basket Under Review. No mention of Pryce Sandfort yet. They're only up to player number 51. And I'm just taking a not so bold leap of faith that Pryce Sandfort will be named as a top 50 player in college basketball. But when you look at the trio that Basket Under Review would say would be Nebraska's 3 best players this year, Pryce Sandfort, Braden Frager, Sam Orm, what does that tell you about what Nebraska is going to look like, how they're going to play, and how good they could be?
I mean, potentially on paper, man, they could have that, like a 3-headed monster that could be a straight up problem. And if they get that, like, my view of basketball, I know I play football, so I guess I don't know anything about basketball, right? According to these, like,
don't believe the people. You got a basketball mind,
washed up dudes around here. I believe basketball, the best basketball teams essentially kind of move like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, just at different points of the court. If you want an example, the Spurs when they were really, with the Spurs offense, or even the triangle offense with Jordan. But obviously you had the X factor in Jordan, and then you have Kobe. And I think when you think about LeBron and when they ran 3-man action. So with these guys that have skill sets that offset each other and they complement each other potentially, is really good. Now the thing about it, it's all potential, but you have the known and Pryce, right? That's the known. Like, he's a dude, and he will be next year. Then you have Frager, which I think is probably the biggest X factor, because I think he's the one that probably has to take the biggest next step, in my opinion. Meaning, you got to get better by handling the ball, right? So when you can handle the ball with both hands, and he's a lefty, so he has an advantage of when you drive, right? Or when you try to, create. Then he's got to become more creative, and not just for himself and crafty for himself, but crafty and creative for these other two that we're talking about. And then I think when you think of Orman, I think he's like a combination. He can get on the boards, he's big enough and he can be physical, so he can match up in there, as much as possible. But then he can stretch you out as well, which then opens up for easy buckets for both of the two that I just mentioned before.
Mhm.
And then if we know Pryce will kick it out for 3, but then when you got Frager that's going to be able to do that. So I think if those 3 start to really get going, and the other 2, the players out on the court, that are with him, or if it's 2 of the main guys in there, they listen. There'll be a problem. And now I know a lot of people that came up to me, man, and asked me about the snow patrol. All right. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
But here's what I told them. I said, back in the day, when the Celtics had Larry Bird, Danny Ainge,
Kevin
McHale, and Bill Walton coming off the bench, and Dennis Johnson. I mean, obviously, he's had some red hair and stuff, and then you had the Chief,
Mhm.
and then they had like dudes like Joe Klein and all them dudes. You know what I'm saying? They were a problem. I seen them. I used to watch them all the time. I used to like the Celtics.
There's a 3-word response. Snow is cold.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be. That's what, you know what the Nebraska needs to do. You remember when McDermott redid the Sports Illustrated picture of Larry Bird when he was crazy? Yeah. They need to do the Celtics for these dudes with them little shorts. Just Nebraska.
Oh,
with the little shorts. That's what they need to do. Kevin McHale.
Man.
Yeah. I guess Army's Kevin McHale, right?
So then Pryce is Bird. Okay.
Yeah. Who's Frager? He Danny Ainge. He a hothead.
Okay, yeah.
He Danny Ainge.
I suppose that makes sense.
He Danny Ainge.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he definitely Danny Ainge. He definitely
love it.
But he's more athletic. But he's more athletic than Danny Ainge.
Okay, maybe he can jump higher. Danny Ainge was
Danny
certified
Ainge,
athlete.
athlete.
I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause
baseball, football,
and
basketball.
Yeah, he actually was a
so-
certified athlete, but I think Frager is more explosive. Yeah.
Yes.
Who could shoot better?
Ooh, what was Danny Ainge's career percentage? Let's look this up here.
Danny Ainge could get in that mid range on you.
He could.
And Danny Ainge was feisty though. He took a lot of L's when he was fighting though.
Well, that'll happen. Danny Ainge, you want college or actually I can do college and pro. How about that? God bless Sports Reference. What an incredible website. If they're listening, we need to sponsor. Okay, BYU, Danny Ainge 6'4". Danny Ainge over 118 career games, 21, 4.5, and 4.5 without a 3-point line. Then in the NBA, Danny Ainge 11, 2.5, and 4 a game, the 38% 3-point shooter.
I'll say Frager. I'll be biased.
Frager last year, 35.7% on 162 attempts.
But it was his first year. So we're going to give him an extra 2%. So we'll go Frager.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, that's it. That he's Nebraska Danny Ainge. Because remember, Danny Ainge was 6-man, then he'd start, and he'd get it cracking a little bit.
A little bit?
Oh,
a lot of bit.
Yeah. Did you ever see the video when his son dunked on him?
No.
Yo. It was
like Austin Ainge, like Jazz GM Austin Ainge?
Dude, his son, they were playing him in the driveway. And I think they were on a family vacation somewhere. And they got like the 8 or 9 foot hoop. Dude, he dunked on his dad and threw him on the ground. That's I'm fighting. I'm fighting after
on
that.
What 2 letters?
Oh, on business.
On GP.
On GP. I'm throwing hands. He dunked on him. And then it was on the internet too.
I'm going to have to look that up over break.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, I think like these 3, all jokes aside and everybody else, I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean, we talked about Esigen yesterday and obviously, he had a big social media presence, but if he can find a role somehow along with Jacobson and everybody like that, and Esigen, can find a role and really play big in like, let's say, what does Nebraska usually play regular season? What, 20, 30 games?
It's 31 game regular season.
Okay, so 31 regular season game. If Esigen can really be like a factor when we're talking the post game, like 8 to 10 of those, he's done his job. He's done his job. Because what that means is he'll hit a couple big threes. He'll make some off-schedule plays like an and one on a layup and then hit the free throw.
Yep.
Or he'll make a big pass. And then same thing with Jacobson. I think Jacobson, I'm going to be really interested to see the growth and maturation in his game.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had to do a little bit of everything. He could, he's strong enough to kind of play a super small 4 if they needed to him at times. Last year, I think they obviously were able to recruit around that. So now, what have you done at the guard position to, continue to have the minutes you're going to have? But then, what did you do to expand your game?
Yeah, that guard position is fascinating to me because I think you have three guys that are best categorized as forwards or wings. Sandfort and Frager, wings, absolutely. Orm probably more in the forward mold. Sandfort might be able to slide down to the 2 in the starting lineup. Frager could as well. But I think that if those three are the best players, then Trevin Lenhart, the lead guard kind of point position, needs to be a 37% 3-point shooter.
You got to be Dennis
And
Johnson.
4.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. I like that. I like that comp too. Taj DeGorville's got to be certified on defense, right? Not that Sandfort's a horrible defender, but it's not his calling card. Frager, what has Fred Hoiberg said all offseason? Okay, consistency. Can you show it in year 2 on the defensive end? Or even, Bowden Kapke, then the other guy in the front court, I would presume would start. More positional defenders, not exactly lockdown guys. I think that I don't know if I'd rather see Orm or Lenhart be among the 3 best players for Nebraska. I think both those guys come from comparable competition levels. Belmont in the Ohio Valley, Utah Valley out in the WAC, playing for good head coaches and good offensive schemes. Both those guys have to prove they can scale up. I might like to see it be Lenhart, though. Or DeGorville, one of those two, because I'm not sure Frager is going to be the guy Nebraska wants creating the shots. At times, certainly, but I'm not sure how big of a distribution leap there is in Braden Frager. Maybe, in another year or 2. I still think Frager's probably best as a finisher, but I think all 3 of those guys need a creator to be optimized. I think that could be Lenhart or DeGorville or Jacobson, to your point.
Yeah, probably more Lenhart, I think. And it'd be easier for him to do that, and he can kind of be super efficient with his, mid-range threes.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, for Frager, right? Obviously, got paid. Kansas was, and he worked it a little bit. Kansas was sniffing around, but he was working it a little bit to get paid. Okay,
as he should.
Yeah, for sure. Get your money, man. What does it look like for you in performance that you're like, yeah, that's worth the investment, and he's gotten better? What does it look like? Is it more of the same, more consistent, adding something? I mean, I always talk about the development of, Casey and obviously Sam. I feel like they really worked on being crafty around the rim, which then opened up other offense for everybody else, but then also allowed them to play big against bigger opponents. What is it? What do you need? What do you want to see from Frager to be like, yeah, that he made another big jump going into year 2 or playing in year 2?
I think there's going to be a minutes jump first and foremost. So I want to see how his conditioning holds up. It's a guy that played about 24 minutes per game last year. My guess is that's in the 28 to 30 range right now. So, okay, first time playing that heavy of a minutes workload, which he did from time to time, but can he be counted on every game? He was in the closing lineup a lot of times for Nebraska. They liked the look that he was able to give them. Does he still have that edge, right? Is he still a guy Nebraska is okay with having the ball at the end of the game in a press break situation, a free throw shooting situation? I think he can be a 5+ rebound per game guy. That would be adding an extra, board and change. The biggest thing for me, though, my biggest issue with him has been on ball defense. Something with his feet. I think he just got caught flat-footed a few too many times. I just go back to that Iowa game, watching that from pretty close up. But that's okay if he's not Nebraska's best on-ball defender. I think Braden Frager could be an absolute menace on the weak side, right? A guy that if he understands what Nebraska wants to do defensively and what opponents are trying to do to attack him, I think Frager might be the perfect player for Nebraska to have zoned up on the backside, out of that trap. If teams are going to skip pass out of it or send a cutter to the rim to try to draw defense down, I think Frager can show me another level on defense by upping his steals per game and maybe even his blocks. I mean, that's a guy that only blocked 2 shots in 33 games last year that he ended up playing in. There's more athleticism there. And I think if he can time his rotations better, whether to get to the rim and meet a cutting guard or forward there, or he can be a guy that kickstarts transition on the weak side by getting in passing lanes and reading, those skip passes, I think that could be a huge help for Nebraska. Then on offense, I think there's some degree of you live with the good and the bad, because he is a bit of a wild card, a crazy horse in some degree, where he's going to take some yes or no, yes kind of shots. Some of those step backs that he was taking, the spot ups, even with the hand in his face, those are some shots that sometimes early offense I'm not sure Nebraska loves, but he can make them. He made them last year. So if he maintains or improves his 3-point percentage, I think that's huge. I think he's going to tick up in volume from 5 a game, probably to 7 a game if I had to guess right now. And if he's still 35 to 37% on that with better off-ball defense, and maybe he can average, 2 to 2.5 assists per game with more knowledge of the system and keep the turnovers at, 1 to 1.5. Though some of those are counting stats. Some of those are, you'll know it when you see it, but that's kind of generally the outline I would see.
Yeah, I think if Frager, I think the emphasis on defense, I think he'll get better at it. And I think, I think sometimes, I think it was a learning lesson for him. I don't even think it was an ability thing. I think it was just an immaturity thing for him, in understanding, the magnitude. And sometimes you can, when a young player, and he is a young kid, because you got to think he classified or classed up. So, so you get the pats on the back, you have some success, and you kind of get caught up in that tidal wave, and maybe that the concentration caught him a little bit. I think as long as he's serviceable on defense, and he'll get naturally steals just by his body type, he'll get in the way and all that because he'll have a better knowledge of the defense. So I think the defense needs to be better. I think it's more of his mental game needs to be better. I think that's where for me. That's it. And then skill-wise, I'd like to see him add something when you get into, I call it the paint, Sherman Williams for paint, and you get into paint and you get crafty off the 2 feet, dipsy-do, up and under, assist. That's where I want you to be creative. You should kill him, based on the spacing from what I'm seeing, right? You should be killing people in that lane. Because he's a big kid, physical. He's a lefty, so that makes it hard. If you don't have a lefty on your roster, you can't replicate that.
No.
Because I can go left. You could get somebody, but when you have somebody that's their dominant hand, that's hard. So if he can do that, that's what I want to see.
Well, that's where Cale Jacobson can be big, because Frager has athletic gifts that, no offense to Cale Jacobson, only Braden Frager and that duo has. But if Frager can harness his aggression and use it when it's right, but also mentally know when, I have to be patient here. Cale Jacobson has that up and under. He has that little, dream shake kind of move that he broke out a couple times. He has the mid-range. I think Cale Jacobson, just from a skills perspective, could teach Frager a lot.
Yeah, and that's what the development they've done in the offseason with the coaching staff. So I think if he adds that to his game and everything stays the same, and obviously, the knucklehead threes, get that cut down. But, I'm assuming his 3-point percentage would be a little bit higher and it'd be more consistent, because I think he's going to get better at shots, so he doesn't have to feel like he needs to come off the bench and get it going, like rush it, I want to see some more craftiness in this game. I know you can be physical. I know you can be a big backside defender. I want to see, can you be in that middle of that lane? I know Pryce can do it, but I think if you do it, boy, I think the Caucasian or Chuck the Rifleman going to be killing you. Listen, Pryce Sandfort's release is quick. Homeboy gets that thing in that shot zone. You know what I'm saying? He like quick draw McGraw. You ever see that dude that does when they go from the hip and do that, and he's the fastest dude ever? You ever see that on the internet?
Oh yeah.
That's Pryce, whatever his name is, and then he puts it in there and just goes. All he doing drinking beer and just showing off doing it. But for Pryce, I think that'd be it. Hey, Drumstick got a good thing. Drumstick, I love you, man. I like it. That's what we're calling him now. That's what if I ever see Fred, if I see him, I'll say, I got a new nickname for your team. What do you think Fred's gonna say?
I think Fred would laugh it off, is what Fred would do.
Well, I'm doing it. If you're listening, Fred, I got a new nickname for your team. Snow Time. Hey, you know what would be best? Yeah, you know what the best part would be? Is if they actually start running and gunning.
Right?
Yeah, they getting it and they pushing it.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Maybe our next Nebraska ball segment, not this week, but at some time over the course of the summer, is Nebraska's offense by 10-second intervals of the shot clock. I saw a really good breakdown on that, just the numbers for it. And I think we can get into that. Could Nebraska stand to run and gun a little bit more or not? But yeah, no, if Sandfort, Frager, and Orm, if they're the best players on Nebraska's team, I think you're looking at another team that's in the NCAA tournament. If Lenhart's in that mix, I think that's fine. unless, of course, injuries, then they have to be the best players just by default. So with that, let's go ahead and go to break. We'll wrap up with some fun news, fun article put out by Robin Washington of Husker Online. Tim Miles, who made a return to Lincoln. Robin had a chance to sit down with coacher Tim Miles, tell you about Tim Miles' visit to Lincoln to wrap up Hour 1.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 66. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Right now, it's 80 degrees.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. We're serving up a $5.99 meal deal that includes a one-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side, and a drink, all for just $5.99. Craving brisket? Upgrade to our tender, slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Join us for lunch or dinner, or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Looking for the ultimate game day spot? Arbor Axe House has everything you need. Axe throwing, cold beers, and the big game. Whether you're celebrating a win or talking trash with friends, nothing beats the rush of sticking an axe while cheering on your favorite team. Perfect for bullseye beginners and seasoned pros. Our axe throwing experts keep the fun going and the drinks flowing. Step up to the plate at Arbor Axe House. Book a lane at arboraxe.com or call 402-802-9696. Arbor Axe House on the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers. And someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money. And most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on MaintainX have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and saved thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try MaintainX free at maintainx.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $195 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1009974. $195 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 10,000 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees expert. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 8/31/26.
Are you looking for a place to host company get-togethers, team meetings, or group events? Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the perfect place to host your gathering, with private bays available to meet with clients while you swing the sticks and improve your game. Back Nine Golf offers traditional golf opportunities while also providing fun games and activities available for non-traditional golfers on their top-of-the-line full-swing simulators. Learn about their corporate memberships today and gather your favorite groups together at Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln, just off 14th and Pine Lake Road.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. We're serving up a $5.99 meal deal that includes a one-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side and a drink, all for just $5.99. Craven brisket? Upgrade to our tender, slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Join us for lunch or dinner, or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. Wrapping up hour one of Old School here on a Thursday. Austin Norman and Jay Foreman. Big thanks to Heartland of Nebraska Windows for their sponsorship of hour one. You can give them a call, 402-430-3852, or visit them online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Speaking of visiting the Heartland and getting a window into a successful program, Tim Miles made a return to Lincoln. Robin Wash of Husker Online caught up with him, and one of the good quotes from Robin's piece was this from Tim Miles. I watched Nebraska a lot last season, and as the season wore down, I was so impressed with what they were doing defensively. I talked to Coach Hoiberg and asked him if I could meet with Nate and come watch them work out. They were gracious enough to have me in and were so welcoming. It was great to catch up with everybody, old personnel that we used to work with, and it was really an excellent emotional experience for me. Pretty cool that the Tim Miles would, be willing to reach out, and that Fred Hoiberg and staff would be willing to let him in the building. I know the coaching ego is certainly, or business is certainly one with plenty of egos in there, but obviously, Tim Miles wasn't happy about being let go from Nebraska, not having his contract renewed, but pretty cool that the old coach could come back to Lincoln, get some pointers, and be welcomed with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Miles, was a big personality. I think, obviously a fan favorite, and obviously I think was a really good coach, for the majority of his, tenure here. And brought some, good light to Nebraska basketball. You got to think with the, I think when they beat Michigan State that one time, no-sit Sundays and all that type of stuff. And I think he has a, fond place in his heart for Nebraska and Nebraska basketball. I think he truly does. I mean, obviously things didn't work out the way he wanted, but I think as a coach, Tim Miles, I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he knows generally in this world of coaching that you're not going to coach anywhere forever. But I mean, obviously I'm sure he wanted to maybe do it differently. And I think his relationship and his respect as a coach and as a person, especially here, that's still here, allowed him to make the call to Fred, and obviously Fred's a, pretty, decent dude that if another coach wants to come in and learn from them or learn from Coach Nate and kind of, and look, Coach Miles is out there, didn't have the best year that, he wanted last year. So he probably knows like, hey, I need to try to add something different. He's got to do more with less out there. He's always kind of done that. And so, you got to give kudos to him and then kudos to Fred, where some coaches that are successful or have a, I guess, system per se, or just, a way that they look at offense or defense in any sport, and sometimes like, kind of like a spoiled kid is just going to say, I want all the cookies. Right. And so,
Right.
I think it's pretty cool. And for Tim Miles to come back and obviously, give the interview and obviously talk glowing about Nebraska basketball, still pulling for Nebraska as well. When obviously he saw us make that run, I think it's great. And, I'm not surprised Fred, opened the doors to him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again.
Well, and Fred Hoiberg is one of the guys that did a little bit of that tour after he got fired from the Bulls. So it's kind of paying it forward, paying it back in
I
some
think that's
odd
what
way.
coaches do that all the time.
It's a fraternity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a lot of egos, but it's absolutely a fraternity. I mean, it's not exactly a secret that around that building, Tim Miles kind of knew that his time was coming to an end and had an inkling that it was going to be Fred Hoiberg that Nebraska was at least pursuing. And so for him to not hold in any animosity toward Fred for that or toward the program is pretty cool. Another quote from this piece from Robin kind of on that. Every year I was in Pinnacle Bank Arena, which was my last 6 years there. It was 15,000 every night, and they were loyal. They showed up for us and supported us, and we weren't good every year. I know that. Even Fred wasn't good every year, and they kept showing up To see that loyalty rewarded was super cool. Like, it gave me chills and made my hair stand up on my arms. It made me well up with tears. It was just super cool. I wish I could have done it for them. There's no doubt about that, but I didn't. And I'm happy Fred and his staff did. It was so cool to watch. And Nebraska deserved that. Nebraska basketball deserved that. Nice kicker quote there from Tim Miles and Robin Washut. One other question then to get to on this, Jay. 5284 mentioned John Rothstein putting out his Big Ten preseason rankings. He has Nebraska 9th, smack dab in the middle of the Big Ten conferences. Too high, too low, just right.
I'll say one or two, in my opinion, one or two spots low, but I think it's just right for this team, if that answers your question. I think over the last 2.5 years, for sure, I think Fred's it should have built up some credibility that his team is going to, end up being higher than when you initially, had him ranked. And I mean, last year was obviously way better than what people initially thought. But also, I think sometimes that's good. I think it works out well for Fred and this is what happens. And I experienced this on the football level. So when you have success, now granted, they didn't win a national championship, but I remember this like yesterday. And I'll say this, to be honest with you, and hopefully, Pryce and Frager and all those guys think like this because it inspires you moving forward. Like, I can't speak for Jason and Grant, but I can just speak for myself. I still think about, obviously, 94, 95, and 97 with the most fondest memories. But I'm going to tell you what, 96, that Texas game, and I wish I would have probably said some stuff to kind of maybe change some lineup or whatever. That rings through my mind. But I will also say this. When we won in 94, 95, 96, a lot of the younger guys came in, some freshmen and all that. Sometimes they felt like they were national champs. So for this group, you have some new players. So they're benefiting off what Sam and those guys did, along with Pryce, but Pryce still here. So being ranked a little bit lower than you than you expected or deserved is a good motivational tactic and say, listen, last year was last year. We're picked to just be right in the middle. You need to go change it now. They changed it. Now you go do it. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, you weren't here last year. You're part of the program. You weren't that team.
Yeah, you got a lot of new swag. That's great. You know what I'm saying? You sitting at home playing the game. But come the season, you have some big shoes to fill. And people still aren't respecting the work that we did last year and don't think that they're going to respect you this year.
I think that's a great way to phrase it. I'd have Nebraska as a top 5 team in the Big Ten right now myself, but if they're picked 9th, shoot, go shock the world.
Yeah, I think I would have put them at 7 or maybe 8 or 6, but
especially, in this Big Ten conference, you can be, have the 3rd best record, but be 7th based on tiebreakers.
Right. So, and I doubt they were doing that. They just ain't giving Nebraska no respect. So, and if that was the case, I ain't telling my team that either. It's us against the world, and that whole type of stuff.
That it is. All right, on to hour 2 of the show. When we get back, we'll have a full hour 2 ACC Media Days.
My man is back
from
running
James
his mouth.
Franklin, Jim Phillips, Bill O'Brien, and others. Evan Bland will join us at 4:30, and we'll continue on from there. He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return-to-work exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $195 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1009974, $195 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 10,000 due at signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 8/31/26.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers. And someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money. And most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on MaintainX have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and saved thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try MaintainX free at maintainx.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Amigos value meals are getting an upgrade with more of the bold, fresh flavors you love. Now we have 9 options for only $5, $6, or $7. With fries and a small drink, these are full meals for a small price. There's something for everyone with the new Chicken Ranchero Burrito or Quesadilla Snackers. Even Amigos favorites like the Soft Meat Burrito or Crisp Pinto are now in value meals. With a deal this good, we'll be seeing you all the time at Amigos. There's a jalapeno heat wave rolling through Amigos, and honestly, we're here for it. The new crisp jalapeno popper burrito is stuffed with bold jalapeno cream cheese filling for a smooth, spicy heat in every crispy bite. And the new jalapeno popper Frenchies are a perfect fiery twist on the classic fave. This summer, the heat index is officially set by Amigos, and it's a jalapeno heat wave. Try the newest bold, fresh flavors at Amigos.
Hi, it's Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville. Koppel is proud to be the highest rated GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln areas based on Google reviews. Right now, get 0% financing for 60 months on new Silverado and Sierra 1500 models. But hurry, the 0% financing offer won't last long. Visit us in Louisville or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
Are you looking for a place to host company get-togethers, team meetings, or group events? Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln is the perfect place to host your gathering with private bays available to meet with clients while you swing the sticks and improve your game. Back 9 Golf offers traditional golf opportunities while also providing fun games and activities available for non-traditional golfers on their top-of-the-line full-swing simulators. Learn about their corporate memberships today and gather your favorite groups together at Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln, just off 14th and Pine Lake Road.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we go into hour 2, getting a little bit of a late start, having some good basketball conversation in hour 1. Now, though, we turn our attention to college football. Here on Thursday, July 16th. Month is flying by. I should be a good big brother and give my brother Jackson a birthday shout out as well. Happy birthday, JT, and keep studying for the bar. And they're not going to hear this till later. Yeah, he's kind of miserable on his birthday studying for the bar exam, but he's going to rock it. He's going to do great, I know. Rocking the mic, that's for sure. James Franklin, we won the offseason. There's no doubt about it. We had a great offseason. All right, James Franklin. All right, you won the offseason. What does that mean?
Hey, listen, the James Franklin is one of them dudes that, like, I'm going to tell you, here's my history with James Franklin, and you know it, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Right when I thought you was turning the corner, right when I thought it was light skin for the win, right when I thought I could trust you, James Franklin.
Right as soon as you thought you could bet a steak dinner on it.
Yo, James Franklin has messed up more of my underdog bets than any man walking the face of this earth. Right?
Your bets crumble like the cookies.
Yeah, I was like, this is the year. This is the year. Let down. This is the year. Let down. And I'm not even a gambler. I just like doing it just because James Franklin, like, yeah, he going to win. Because I'm waiting for the press conference. Because I know it would be epic. Nothing. But he's at Virginia Tech. And I think with him, he's motivated. And
How could you not be after the way that went down at Penn State?
Right. Because the way that it kind of went down, was it right? Most likely not. I think he exceeded expectations the year before, and they made it to the final, the college football playoffs and deep in there. And I think they lost in their 4 because they lost Notre Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, expectations were out of this world, and then they were waiting to fire him. I understand why he's angry and quite frankly, pissed off. But I think Virginia Tech is a great place for him. I think it's like a blank landscape, and he can write his own portrait. So I think also when him popping off like this is a little bit like Kirk Cignetti. So people go back to Kirk Cignetti in that first time at the basketball game, but now if you listen to him, or I think it was before, or maybe it was after the national championship or whatever it was, he did an interview. He said, "I just did that to get people to shake people up, to get people interested in the program, and I had to do that." That's what hopefully James Franklin is doing. But I think with that type of personality, with that recruiting landscape in Virginia, and the influx of a ton of money behind him,
$229 million worth over.
I mean, he came in like I don't want to say like a wife or anything, but he came in like like you just like you go into it, like you get in a new house and you just bought the house, you thought it was nice. Oh no, new curtains. Oh no, we need new bedding. And a new bed. Oh yeah, we're getting bidets everywhere. All that type of stuff. Yeah, and so he came in. Did you ever see the video when he was walking around with his coffee?
Oh yeah.
And he's He's like, yeah, and he's telling the dude that it must have been like a board of regent or maybe the athletic director. You fixing that, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's popping off a little bit, a lot of bit actually.
Is college football better if Virginia Tech is good?
Yes, and it's just like Nebraska, but Nebraska's at another level. Because if Virginia Tech is good in college football, the depth of college football is there. And if Virginia Tech, if they play Virginia Tech type of football, that means there's some excitement. That means there's special teams plays, and it's hard nosed. I think it's a part of the country that doesn't get enough credit for the fandom that they have. I mean, listen, I lived in Charlotte. That dang, what is that? Burgundy?
Yeah.
In orange? And quite frankly, might be the two ugliest colors I've seen.
It does not work.
Right, uniform one. And back in the day when
not even Michael Vick can make it look good.
When Bruce Arians was there, those uniforms were horrible. And they tried to like spice it up with the white face mask. It looks horrible. So they're everywhere. So the fandom up and around there before you get to the DMV is a lot of Virginia Tech, and they're hard nosed too, man. And so I do think it is better if Virginia Tech is better.
The Hokies made a bowl every year from 93 through 2019. Other than that, they were just kind of a pop-up program. Made 3 bowl games under Bill Dooley. Some of that got changed. They ended up with a 10-1-1 season in 1986. Before that, only 2-3 bowl games in program history. But Virginia Tech's one of those teams that, I mean, they don't come to mind first, but you get to them eventually. Nebraska had its fair share of battles with Virginia Tech in the early mid-2000s, that's for sure. Didn't cross paths a whole lot in the 90s as Virginia Tech was in the Big East before eventually joining the ACC there in 2004. But Frank Beamer had that program rolling. Bud Foster obviously was a big piece of that with Beamer ball and special teams. Fuente had it for a second and then lost it. Pry, I still think, is just fascinating. Fired after 3 games, brought back to campus as James Franklin's DC. Continuity. I get it. I don't think there's any worry about Brent Pry, trying to usurp James Franklin. Right? I mean, they're lifelong friends. They're really tight. They've worked really well together. There's a really interesting piece from the Athletic.
How does that work? Hold on. How does that work contract-wise, though?
I guess
you're paying my buyout.
You're paying the buyout from the head coach contract and signing a new DC contract.
I get 2 checks?
I guess.
Hey, break bread. No, go ahead. Spend that. This is my play money.
That's for the new bed. That's for the new curtains.
Right. This is my jack around money, man. We'll be all right. Don't worry about that. I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's a wildly fascinating dynamic we don't see a lot. But the Athletic did a nice sit down about a week ago with James Franklin, who said continuity is going to be a big thing for me, right? He mentions all the coordinators he lost late in his time at Penn State, went for some of those splash hires, Kotelnicki from Kansas, and Jim Knowles, obviously, stealing him away from Ohio State off the championship run. Then you get to this paragraph, the Athletic writes, Virginia Tech hasn't even played in a big game in years. The Hokies haven't been ranked since early in the 2021 season. They haven't played a game, a ranked versus ranked matchup since October of 2020. And they last reached 8 wins in 2019, have not finished ranked since 2017. A lot of parallels there to Nebraska, obviously different areas of the country. But you look at the position that the ACC is in right now, Jay. Miami coming off a national championship game appearance, and I think we can officially declare the U is back. But other than that, Clemson's wavering. Florida State has been wavering for a little bit of time. Virginia, up and down. NC State, kind of, boring, consistent program. Georgia Tech, up and down. Duke popped up and made it to the ACC championship and won it last year. Not really a football power. ACC could use another team to step up alongside Miami, where it seems like things are going in the right direction. Why not James Franklin and Virginia Tech?
Why not James Franklin and Virginia Tech? But do not sleep on North Carolina State. They might have the fastest rising quarterback as far as the NFL draft goes. Was it Doran? Is that the head coach?
Dave Doran.
Yeah. I mean, the tough, hard nose.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for James Franklin, I think part of the reason why he went to Virginia Tech is the landed opportunity. Yes, Miami is back, but are they really, really back? Is it sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You've had a really good run of quarterbacks. Cam Ward, Carson Beck, 2 elite pass rushers in the mindset change. And now you were able to get Mensa. But I'm thinking maybe he's betting on sooner or later that's going to run out. And Virginia Tech, if he's able to build the program, kind of like Penn State, right?
Mm-hmm.
And get the same players. James Franklin's always going to be able to recruit, right? That you can really do some things.
Oh, without a doubt. Elsewhere in the ACC, Bill O'Brien, Houston Texans, a former head coach, of course, a former Penn State head coach as well, was talking about roster construction, which again is much different for Boston College up there in Massachusetts. Not exactly the football hotbed, but plenty of talent in neighboring and surrounding states. Pennsylvania's got some, New York's got some. Ought to be able to go down the Atlantic coast a little bit. But Bill O'Brien says right now his roster is about 50-50 in terms of high school recruits compared to transfers. Bill O'Brien wants his ratio to be closer to 75-25 high school players. Sounds like another program maybe just down the block here, Jay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to and I think it could change, like maybe not year to year, but every 2 years.
Sure.
Because if guys don't develop or anything like that, and that's by choice or maybe circumstances that, sometimes you might hit the portal a little bit harder. But ideally, especially for me, I think ideally you'd like to be more 75-25 because that means it's more sustainable. You're reloading and then you're just really, I call it a la carte. I just, like Alabama did that one time when they went and got Gibbs, and then they got the receiver from Georgia, and then we're like, we're done.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Kirk Cignetti this year. When
Sure.
you replace our quarterback, they want to get the defensive end from It's either Kansas State or TC or Kansas State. They got a couple other guys. They're doing
Marsh from Michigan State.
Marsh, right? So, like, we're replacing that NFL player, that number one pick in the quarterback. We need another defensive end, and they probably got somebody else. All right, we're done. And if anything falls in their lap, we're good. So I like what he's thinking. I think that'll be a little bit hard to do at Boston College, but if he gets the time, I think he can do it, because you want to be able to develop, especially across the lines. You go and get these kids. Obviously, they're big enough and have the size enough. You want to be able to give them at least 2.5 to 3.5 years to develop, and then you're able to kind of place them in there, so you're able to kind of always have a chain going up through that offensive line, which with his style of offense and obviously trying to be physical and all the other stuff you'd want him to do, and that it'll make your defensive line better as well.
Yeah, does that clock change at all for when you expect guys to contribute now with 5 to play 5 in order, right? Because you think for offensive linemen, redshirt year, then you're that there's your first year, and then you have 4 years to play, but you're probably not on the field for a year and a half, and then you have 2 to 3 years to play. Do you think the 2.5 years is still the rule, or do you think 3.5 is maybe the norm, so you have a good year and a half to play at the end?
I think it's about 2.5 now, because I think it speeds up the process. You're able to get guys out there, and especially non-con or something like that. Like, imagine if you're a high school lineman and you come in and say you're like 285, 290, but or like say like 280, 285, you can play against Lincoln or Houston Christian and all that. You could definitely hold your own against there. And so you get like those 3 games, ideally, if it goes right, and then another like in conference. Okay, so now you're at 4 games your first year, and then you have a really good offseason along with the in-season lifting. Then you're really ready to go in that next year. So then hopefully you're getting legitimate series and snaps. And then by that 3rd year, and then you have 2.5 more years after that, or 3, and then however long it goes from there. So I like it for that. I think that 5 for 5 could help a place like Boston College.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if there's only one transfer. To be able to get kids, develop them, take your time. Egos are set aside because you're able to get on the field as a freshman, right? And you can kind of place them in there. And I think also you can keep them enticed. And I'm thinking of like, say you played in the non-con, and then like you hadn't played a little bit. This is what we need you to work on. And yes, you might be going down to get more scout team reps, but this is what we need, and this potentially could be your opportunity, because we're playing. Well, Rutgers isn't a pushover, but if we're progressing as a team, you can forecast it. We need you to get better on special teams. We need you to find a way, say Jay Foreman, to be not only on the 2 deep and special teams, be a starter or co-starter on all the coverage units, and then that's when you'll be able to get the in game action too. Those type of things can help a school like Boston College. I think it can help a school like Nebraska. So then maybe you won't have to move so hastily off of guys, right? Because I think you can see progress, and they can see progress too, tangible progress. And
it's a Boston College program that hasn't been devoid of talent necessarily. I mean, you put Ezeraku and Trapillo into the draft just a couple of years ago when Nebraska played
Castellanos,
too.
And they had different guys, and generally Boston College. I mean, some of the toughest guys that I played against in the NFL were Boston College dudes. So up there is that fabric of toughness up there that fits Boston College. It's a great university, and they've had a history over however long of putting guys in the NFL and having legitimate players and having some sneaky good teams. So for a coach like Bill O'Brien, you need to support, and you need time. He needs time.
Yeah.
But he also has to show progress, right? So I think last year was a downer, and he was very vocal about it. But he, hopefully for him, as a coach, that he was able to lay the foundation down, and then you're able to kind of, add into it this year. So maybe they took their lumps. Kind of like, remember Lovie Smith had all those freshman guys,
right?
That year, and we walked the dog on them. Well, they came back and put guys to sleep after that.
Yeah.
First round corner, second round defensive tackle, 3rd round defensive lineman. Jackus just went to New England or whatever. I don't know, 4th round or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Brown brothers. So it can happen. You just need time.
The other quote from ACC Media Days, I think, to get to here over the last few minutes of the segment, came from Commissioner Jim Phillips, former Northwestern athletic director before he moved to helming the ACC. He was asked about the SEC and the Big Ten exploring a self-governance breakaway model with the leagues enforcing their own rules. Jim Phillips' answer was this: self-governance to me means no governance. Strong words from Jim Phillips, commissioner of the ACC, who I wonder, Jay, if he doesn't feel a little spited or left behind by his colleagues in the Big Ten. I thought when he went over there was a really good chance for the ACC to come along with the Big Ten. And now it's the SEC versus the Big Ten in a lot of ways, and they're not exactly offering a hand of friendship to any of those other conferences.
Yeah, you're kind of turning your nose up at ACC, and obviously it's football-led, but the ACC can say a lot of other things that we're competitive in all the other sports. And, you know, the personal relationships between athletic directors is just like coaches. And I don't know, maybe it was an assumption, and, you know, you never want to assume, but, you know, I think for him being in the Big Ten and being at Northwestern, he's seen the true Big Ten, the fabric of the Big Ten, and probably is a little shook at being stiff-armed or turned nose up at, you know, now that he's in the ACC. So, and I feels like that he feels like it's a great conference, and you can and probably can all work together and not just, you know, divide and leave. And he also knows that if those two are there, it's going to be wild, wild west. And when you're looking at it, already is a wild, wild west. It'd be, you know, Armageddon. But when you look at college football now, everybody's talking about it's ruining college football, the money and all this other stuff. Well, if the two big dogs break off, they're going to get more money. They're going to try to demand more. College football will be even worse because the product on the field will not match up the price tag. But I think it's all posturing right now. One phone call and a dinner, you know, a nice steak dinner or something like that, and a couple bottles of expensive wines from Kevin Meyer Cork and bottle, you know, with the fluorescent M lit up, will work out well.
Let it play like a Christmas tree, some might say.
That's right.
And Christmas tree colors, in fact, red and green. So a little bit more from ACC Media Days throughout the next couple of days. Of course, the ticket will be headed out to Chicago for Big Ten Media Days. Nebraska will speak, I believe, last day. It'll be 2 weeks from yesterday on the 29th, I believe, is when Nebraska will speak. And we will be out there covering it all live from the Hilton in Chicago. He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. We'll talk some Husker football and some Husker baseball with Evan Blaine of the Omaha World Herald as we continue on hour 2 of Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Amigos value meals are getting an upgrade with more of the bold, fresh flavors you love. Now we have 9 options for only $5, $6, or $7. With fries and a small drink, these are full meals for a small price. There's something for everyone with the new Chicken Ranchero Burrito or Quesadilla Snackers. Even Amigos favorites like the Soft Meat Burrito or Crisp Pinto are now in value meals. With a deal this good, we'll be seeing you all the time at Amigos. There's a jalapeno heat wave rolling through Amigos, and honestly, we're here for it. The new crisp jalapeno popper burrito is stuffed with bold jalapeno cream cheese filling for a smooth, spicy heat in every crispy bite. And the new jalapeno popper Frenchies are a perfect fiery twist on the classic fave. This summer, the heat index is officially set by Amigos, and it's a jalapeno heat wave. Try the newest bold, fresh flavors at Amigos.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 66. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Right now, it's 80 degrees.
Hi, it's Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville. Koppel is proud to be the highest rated GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln areas based on Google reviews. Right now, get 0% financing for 60 months on new Silverado and Sierra 1500 models. But hurry, this 0% financing offer won't last long. Visit us in Louisville or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $195 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1009974. 195 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 10,000 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees expert. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 8/31/26.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
And electrical.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Looking for the right utility tractor for your acreage? Find it at Landmark Implement. Shop our selection of used John Deere compact tractors from 1 through 5 series with the power and versatility to track mowing, yard work, snow removal, and more. For a limited time, get 2.9% financing for 36 months, followed by 6.2% for 24 months with approved credit. We've got the right fit for your property and your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or visit us online at landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
That's right. Welcome back in. It is Old School 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. A big thank you to our guest on our Allo Fiber VIP line, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, normally with us at 4:30 on Wednesdays, gracious enough to push back to 4:30 today as Old School was out at Haymarket Park for the American Association All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, and all that fun stuff going on out there. Evan, I won't ask you about that. I will ask you about plenty of players who took the field for Nebraska at Hawks Field at Haymarket Park, 2 of whom took the mound and got drafted. How about Ty Horn and Carson Yassa, both being 3rd-round draft picks for Nebraska baseball last weekend?
Yeah, cool moment for the program for sure. I mean, I think they both were expected to go where they did. The program expected them to make the jump to the next level, and you never know kind of how the sequencing of it all will go. And so you have within a span of 5 picks, Ty Horn and Carson Yassa come off the board. And I think probably a factoid that Nebraska will use in recruiting is it was one of, I think, 5 teams to have 2 pitchers go in the top 100. So, that was appropriate, I think, for what those 2 guys meant to Nebraska this year and why they ended up hosting a regional. And I think Horn and Yassa both, because they had leverage, signed for decent sums, probably something right around what their slot value was, at or right above $800,000 a piece. So success story for Nebraska, certainly a recruiting tale that they can continue to tell, and a moment that I think probably all parties saw coming.
Continuing a trend, as you wrote in your pieces detailing both players' selections, it's been a lot of pitchers getting drafted into the professional baseball ranks under Will Bolton, then especially under under Rob Childress, and pretty much all of them have been relatively high picks. Schwellenbach, Povich, Sears, McConaughey, Horn, and Yasa. Kind of funny that a lot of these guys tend to go in twos when Nebraska's pitching is good. It seems like they have both their Friday guy and their Saturday guy in pretty good MLB draft position recently.
Yeah, it's been the trend for sure. And I think that for most of Nebraska baseball's history, like when they're good, it tends to start with pitching and defense. And so they've been pretty good in the last 5 or 6 years in the Will Bolt era. You know, you can throw Emmett Olson and Jace Kaminska and some of those other guys in that list too that we're putting out there. But I mean, that's just kind of a characteristic of a lot of good teams. If you have an ace, if you have the majority or all of your starting rotation that are future pros, like you're probably going to win a lot of baseball games. So, I think Carson Yasa in particular might be the best developmental story Nebraska baseball's had. I mean, I'm trying to come up with a comp, and I really can't. Like, as a guy who was a project out of high school, had pretty objectively a poor high school ERA because he didn't always know where the ball was going, red shirts because the coaches are looking out for the safety of their hitters in live sessions, and then kind of a part-time midweek guy a year ago, and now the unquestioned ace this spring, and dominant strikeout numbers and these different things. So you can be sure, like, again, Nebraska's already telling this story to a lot of recruits, saying you don't have to come in here having it all figured out. Like, come in here, have a 3-year plan to go pro, but just know that it might not happen from the jump, but there's going to be a vision, there's going to be development, and by the end you have a pretty good chance of liking what your outcome is going to be. So I think the Carson Yasa story in particular, and Horn to an extent too, but especially Yasa, that was a story that benefited Nebraska at the time that he was on the mound, and I think it's going to continue to benefit them as they look for arms in the future.
The best comparison I can come up with for Carson Yasa is almost Happy Gilmore. He learned how to putt. He learned how to throw strikes. Does that make any comparative sense to you?
Yeah. I mean, Happy Gilmore had the big power drives, right? And he didn't have the command on the green or the putting ability. So I suppose, Yasa, you could say that. Like, he had the big arm. I think schools recognized the ability in the mid to upper 90s velocity, but you just didn't know where it was going. And so, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Carson Yasa would probably be okay with it. He's got a similar personality too to Happy Gilmore. I think he's got a little bit of a hockey player in him.
I love it. When you look at all those guys, especially on the mound that Nebraska's had drafted, I want to make sure I have the fair conversation here. Is Nebraska having enough success on the diamond because of its aces, right? I mean, I think obviously you look at the back-to-back Big Ten tournament championships, 3 seasons and 2 seasons ago now, being a more consistent regional team. And the aces haven't necessarily been the problem. They haven't, run into too many speed bumps with those guys on the mound. But Evan, you see, all those pairs that we mentioned getting drafted off the pitching staff, and Nebraska's still yet to consistently even be 500 in a regional, let alone, make it out of one. And so even if it's not the aces or co-aces faults necessarily, is Nebraska maximizing its success with this, recent lineage of MLB draft pitching that's come through the program?
It's an interesting way to frame it, because like they wouldn't be in the mix without those guys. And we've had the conversation before. I feel like the thing that's holding Nebraska back, and they haven't cracked and broken through regional weekend since that College World Series team in 2005. I feel like the thing that is put on display time and time again is the depth. And we saw it at Haymarket Park in late May when you had Ole Miss and Arizona State. And incidentally, both of those teams were fully scholarship this year. Nebraska was not. They will get there in a couple of years. But, I mean, both of those teams threw out guys that really hadn't been used all that much this year and had some nasty stuff. I mean, again, mid to upper 90s velocity. Maybe the command wasn't always there, but in a pinch, they can come in and miss bats and get outs. Like that was the Oklahoma reality this year too, on their way to the College World Series championship. I mean, they finished 11th in the SEC, and a lot of their arms were mid to late season breakouts. And so the thing with Nebraska has been they've been able to hang with teams maybe on a Friday or even into a Saturday, but it's been that third game, that fourth game where you really see the difference in the depth of quality arms. And again, I think Nebraska can close that gap a little bit with the scholarship increase that they're in the midst of going through right now. But I mean, I think that's just one part of it is Nebraska doesn't have 6 or 7 guys who have that sky high ceiling. They might have 2 or 3, and those guys have maximized their potential largely and become draft picks. It's can Nebraska get more of them and have a few more of those developmental stories? I would also say a lack of power is something that sets them apart offensively from where they want to be at the top of college baseball. But certainly, in my opinion, it starts with those arms. Nebraska's had 3 or 4. Can they get 7, 8, 9 to maybe make that next step and get out of regional weekend?
Yeah, that's absolutely all fair. And I want to be fair to these guys who have had great careers at Nebraska, not just, parlaying one good season into it, but, multiple seasons of relatively consistent success. There's an argument I've made, though, in football, Evan, I think it can apply to this conversation as well, is that if pitching is going to be the strength of the team and you're going to have these MLB draft guys, then you really need them to be a dominant force, not just be good enough to get you there and be the reason you're there, but actually win you some games that matter. I think about Nebraska football, all the times the defense has kept Nebraska in a game, to its credit. It's been the better unit on the team, but it hasn't necessarily been an elite defense. It's been good. It's been really good. It's been, borderline great at times, but always just, one drive short or one key play short. And again, I don't want to be unfair to the pitching staff or to Rob Childress and Will Bolt in their development. But I think pitching can be, even, the aces can be the strength of Nebraska's program over the last, 6 to 7 years. And yet I think it's still fair to say there might be a step up if it wants to be a truly dominant group that can carry Nebraska through.
I think that's all fair. And I would look at a bunch of other sports at Nebraska where you see that take hold. I mean, softball's the closest comparison with Jordy Fromm and Alexis Jensen. And that was a case where they were great pitchers last year. And in every big game, seemingly, they came through. And or at the very least, Nebraska was right in that thing because of what they did. You could say that for Pryce Sandfort with men's basketball. You could say that certainly with a number of the volleyball players over the years. Like, that's been the case where greatness rises to the occasion and matches the moment. And they've come close. I mean, I thought that Saturday regional game, second day regional game against Ole Miss, I mean, that was, no matter what the attendance record says, there were more than 8,000 people in that park. And it just came down to a couple of swing moments in the 6th inning. I mean, Ty Horn poured his guts out on that field, and it wasn't just quite enough. And so, that's the little extra something, that little margin that you're always chasing. That's that getting 1% better that can make the difference kind of thing. So I think the ethos for Nebraska baseball pitching under Rob Childress has been throw strikes, make the hitter beat you. And I mean, that's a heck of a start in college baseball when you're not issuing free passes. But the next step, I think, to go from good and solid foundation to that ceiling is now you got to start missing a few more bats. You got to go a little bit deeper into the game. You got to have a 4th guy in the midweek consistently that can give you 5 innings and take the burden off your bullpen. Like, that's that next level. And you kind of mentioned what they've done has won them multiple tournament championships. It's gotten them into the NCAA tournament with more regularity than they've done really in 20 years. Now it's about how you take that next step. And I think those are some of the margins that they'll have to chase now.
We're talking with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. And speaking of those next steps, it came there was a next step for Dylan Carey, maybe not the way he envisioned. I really appreciated the piece that you wrote about that, Evan, both the draft disappointment and the follow-up you had with him eventually. And I know you talked to some people that said, maybe some metrics scared some MLB teams off. Did you get any more clarity on what metrics, could have been holding Dylan Carey's draft stock back to the point that he goes undrafted a 2nd year in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty ambiguous, pretty vague, I think. I mean, even Dylan Carey himself didn't really have a great sense for what it was. You hear a little bit maybe about the strikeout rate, which I didn't think was egregious, but that was something maybe, a year ago it was exit velocity and launch angle and some of these things, which he, I think, largely cleaned up. The statistics would reflect that. it's not a character thing. He's been one of Nebraska's best player leaders for 4 years. I mean, it's kind of the age thing, I guess, but not really. Like that, it shouldn't really deter you if he's 23, right? Like if you produce at that level, that's not a big deal. And I really don't think it had anything to do with asking. Like if you're a senior, you don't have a lot of leverage and you're looking for an opportunity. So I don't think it was a deal where he priced himself out of it either. I just, there was something about the game or about his profile that universally teams didn't like. And that went against him winning the Brooks Wallace Award as the best college shortstop. It went against the numbers that he put up, many of which led Nebraska, which obviously was a quality team and had a good season this year. So I think at some point, when I was talking to him, at some point you just get to it where you say, I don't know, but I have an opportunity. And you think about MLB history and guys that have made it. There are plenty of examples of players that were drafted outside the top 20 back when the draft was that way, or guys who signed as undrafted free agents and had a chance. Ultimately, he has a chance. We'll see where it goes from there, but certainly one of the more confounding, befuddling, ridiculous draft snubs that I can think of in any sport.
Yeah, the strikeout rate, if that's a concern, that's something I thought he really improved. I mean, that's a guy that had as many strikeouts as hits a couple years ago and had me pretty down on his future. And sure, he's always been a bit of a free swinger, but he did more damage this year than ever. And another guy that did more damage this year than ever was Mac Moyer. How surprised was Nebraska that he ended up signing with the San Diego Padres despite going undrafted? And what does that mean for Nebraska in center field?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Jackson Hallmark from a few years ago in 21 when he got an extra year because of the pandemic at that time. Moyer had redshirted early in his career at Oregon, and so he would have been a fifth-year guy. And so I think in that sense it's not shocking just because, again, we saw it with the pandemic and a little bit now where oftentimes guys don't want to hang around for 5 years, especially in a sport where the rev share dollars aren't what they are in football or men's basketball. And so I think he wanted to take his shot at the next level. And when you think about his background as a redshirt, junior college, and then breaks out in his one season at Nebraska, like it makes sense that he would want to take that crack. And obviously his dad, Jamie Moyer, was a 25-year Major League Baseball veteran pitcher. And so a cool moment for him to match that. I think probably there was a financial piece to that as well, where at this point in his career, he can probably make a little bit more as an undrafted free agent than what Nebraska could pay him coming back. So I think all those were factors. And yeah, I mean, they'll certainly miss out on him in 27, as he was the ultimate table setter, had that long on base streak and went error free in center field. Just one of the smartest, I think, baseball players that Nebraska's had in a while. And so they'll have to reset. I don't know that there's an obvious center field candidate for that job right now. They brought in a lot of corner outfielders, infielders and athlete types who can move around. I don't know that there's an obvious center fielder there right now. That's probably going to be something they'll have to figure out in fall ball and move forward with that. But
is there a second chance for Devin Nunez in the cards potentially?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he was the starting center fielder on opening day. Like, I don't know that his defense blows you away out there. I think it was the bat that played probably the most. So, but yeah, I mean, I think he'll get an opportunity to do it out there. But you think about some of the guys they've had in center over the years, tons of speed, really just savvy outfielders with the glove, good sense of timing and all the rest. So it's a pretty high standard to live up to. But yeah, I think they'll have to probably cycle through that and find someone they feel like that can fit the bill the best.
One Nebraska football question then for you, Evan. Nebraska football does indeed end up adding a running back in the transfer portal. I would say late in the process, but it's about as late as you can get in the process. Tyke Hayes comes to campus, Penn State by way of Iowa Western for a few months. What are your thoughts on that add by Nebraska? How much would you expect him to contribute as an addition this late in the process to the roster?
Yeah, I think it was a savvy addition. Certainly his own profile would tell you that he's someone who could contribute. You look at the offers that he had out of high school, obviously ended up at Penn State, but Ohio State was there. A number of other power offers was very productive as a high school kid in the Pittsburgh area. So that all makes sense. And, you read some of the stuff out of State College. It sounds like maybe the motivating reason for him to leave was the coaching change. And so he was all set to go to Iowa Western and probably would have been a feature back for them and had a chance to bounce back into FBS football after that. But, Nebraska jumps in there. I think it's a smart, probably insurance play for Nebraska at the very least, with the Mekhi Nelson legal situation still unresolved, even though the charges were dropped down there in Florida. Nebraska hasn't either said or decided what his fate will be within the team. So you bring in a guy like Hayes, who I think is a little bit more has kind of the short yardage back mold, sort of like a Quentin Ives or Dante Dowdell from a couple of years ago. But I think he needed to add another body, and I think Nebraska did more than just added another body. They added a guy with a playmaking profile and someone who comes in at a position in running back where, you need to learn the playbook and the blocking schemes. But if you have the football in your arms, it's more of a read and react position than just about anywhere else on the field. So if you are going to bring somebody in at any position this late in the offseason, running back's probably one where you could do it and expect at least some level of production.
There you have it. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald covering Nebraska baseball, football, and pretty much everything in between for the Omaha World Herald. Find him on Twitter and then omaha.com as always. Evan, thanks again for your flexibility pushing back a day. Appreciate the chance to chat. Appreciate your insight, and we'll do it again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Austin. Yep. See ya.
Evan with us on our AlloFiber VIP line. AlloFiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll go to break, wrap up hour 2 of the show. Full hour 3 comes your way right after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com. Power Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white truck, you know the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
And electrical.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
That's right. Welcome back in as we put a bow on hour 2 of Old School, brought to you by the good folks over at Graham Tire Company, celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. I'm Austin. He's Jay. How about your boy Josh Whitman, Illinois AD?
Break
Raise,
bread.
extension, whole
Man,
9 yards.
that's a
Good for
serious.
him.
Hey, man, listen here. That ride home, the phone conversation will be off the chain. You go from making $600,000, which is great money.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think he was severely underpaid with the type of hires and the consistency that he's been able to have and build up every single one of his programs,
Especially in high tax Illinois.
Yeah, and then you go to 2.16.
Yeah, 2.16, 2.15 somewhere.
And then
there.
then you know he's a lawyer though, right? So you know he
Oh, yeah.
and you ain't got to pay no lawyer fees
Woo!
or agent fees. $500,000 a year retention bonus. Break. That's what I'm talking about. The 2 different checks. Yeah, don't worry about that. Just that'll hit. There you go. Play around a little bit, and then every year he's getting $100,000 bump. He's gonna be there till what? 2031 or 2? Right?
32, I want to say.
And the crazy thing is, he's been the AD for 10 years.
Yeah, wild.
37 years old.
Yeah.
He's done it the right way, so you got to give him, got to give him a lot of credit, man. But that's break bread. He hiked. I guarantee you. I see him out Big Ten. I got to say, hey, I got something. You got something. We going to eat or something. You send a steak to my room.
Here's my card. You should have it already, but just in case you lost it, here's another one.
Yeah, this is my email. This is my number. You know what I'm saying? Hook a brother up. I've been cheering champion for you. I'm part of the reason why you got paid.
Speaking of champions, Argentina.
Man.
Holy smokes. Didn't get a chance to talk about it on air, but how about this? In their 4 knockout round games so far, they've scored the game-winning goals in the 111th minute, the 92nd minute, the 112th minute, and the 92nd minute. They haven't led. They haven't been in front through the first 90 minutes of any of their knockout stage games, and yet they're playing to go back-to-back as World Cup champs.
Yeah, I mean, look, Argentina's a well-oiled machine, veteran players. Obviously, Messi's the star player, and he's performed like that. And I think the one thing that's really good about him, he's also really, really good with the ball. That means he can score and he can pass it. And they don't crack under pressure. I think they are very well coached offensively, and they wait for the right time. Did you see the video when Messi got in an argument with the guy and then Messi just said, "Oh, okay,
that's how it is." Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dagger in the heart, and he had that look in his eye too. So I mean,
and they found that the goalie's water bottle or whatever had their penalty moves on it, whatever.
You still can't stop.
Still can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes like we talked about. One of the former coaches asked me, "Would you rather win essentially easy, or would you I wouldn't say would you be okay with losing. Sometimes some guys are just better than you, and he's just better than everybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's facing his stiffest test come Monday night.
España.
Yeah, because they have the pedigree as well.
They made France look like a paper tiger. I mean, France barely threatened.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy. I saw this comparison, though, for Argentina. They're the 2024 Chiefs, defending champions who go down early and then win at the last second every game.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know it's coming, too.
You do.
Yeah. 3 seconds left. My homie does his thing. Yeah. I like
3
that.
seconds. How about 13 seconds?
No. See, there you go.
Sorry.
You go.
Sorry. You set yourself up for that one.
Yeah. I ain't friends with Tyreek Hill either.
All right. Let's head on to hour 3 of the show. Come back with us. Full hour yet to come on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish back shelf bar, enjoy a healthy, family-friendly menu, and catch all your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets located on 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Power Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white truck, you know the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 66. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals, 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Right now, it's 80 degrees.
Hi, I'm Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. When it comes to your vehicle, trust matters. At A1 Automotive, we believe in honest inspections, clear communication, and quality repairs done the first time. Whether you drive a BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Porsche, our team is committed to keeping you safe on the road. A1 Automotive, where integrity drives everything we do. Please visit us at 5110 State Hill Drive or give us a call, 402-267-4660. Always honest answers.
Heads up, LES customers, July 31st is almost here. And that's when our Fairfield Street customer lobby is closing for good. The good news, we've still got plenty of ways to support you. Find your best options at les.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Played Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it again sports at 48th and Vine.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score. Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Hour 3, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Yes, we're in studio. No All-Star game at Haymarket Park. We're not out at the Dillon tennis facility. We are at 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by Graham Tire. Graham Tire has been serving the Midwest for over 60 years. They have 4 locations located here in Lincoln. Look them up, grahamtireoflincoln.com, and tell them Austin and Jay sent you, and they will hook you up. They also will take care of any of your car and light truck needs as well. Great service, great people, just up the street from us on O Street, and they will take good care of you. So, Hour 3, Austin, a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, we talked a little soccer at the end, but it is now football season upon us. It is now July, 16th?
Yes, sir.
July 16th. I came across this, Austin, and I'm gonna catch you by surprise. It's Power 4 teams college football records in this CFP era.
Ooh.
Who
Okay.
do you think has the most wins in the college football playoff? And it's kind of a little bit different, but because it's based on how many, you know, if you make it in the playoffs and you keep going, but who do you think has the most wins?
Got to be Bama, right?
It's Bama.
Okay.
Who do you think's number 2?
Georgia?
Nope.
Ohio State?
Ohio State.
Okay.
And Georgia's 3rd.
3, yeah.
Oddly enough,
Clemson 4?
yes. But that's kind of like fool's gold because the last few years they
Did a lot of work early.
yeah, really a lot of earlier.
Oregon, close.
Oregon's there, 116. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah. Okay.
There's 2 teams. Okay, 2 Big Ten teams. Actually, wait. Yeah, 2 Big Ten teams.
Michigan.
Outside of Michigan, yeah, but that you would normally not think of that they would have that many.
Iowa, Wisconsin.
Iowa's one of them.
Okay.
It's not Wisconsin. They're close, but they have
not quite.
Their record is 102-49.
You're not gonna say Illinois, are you?
Nope.
No. USC?
Nope. It's crazy that you would think that it was Illinois, but they are 65-80.
And I suppose they were pretty bad early college football playoff times. Who else am I missing?
Washington Huskies. 102-49.
That's right. Yep, that makes sense. Okay.
102-40. You would never thought.
They did play for title. They've made some bowl games.
Never thought. But there's a ton of teams. Look at these teams in it. BYU 101-54. You never think, but they've been pretty consistent, right?
Sure.
Okay, then Wisconsin at 99-53, and then TCU 99-54. You never thought TCU. You had that one year, and you haven't really heard of them since. But they've been pretty consistent year in and year out.
Well, TCU did have that run where they were going back and forth with like Baylor and Oklahoma State right after Texas and Oklahoma left, and then they had their pop-up national championship game run in there as well. Bunch of 7-5s and 8-4s though. So,
so just kind of always head above water. Yeah. Other surprise teams. I will say this: probably the most surprising team is 89-60 Minnesota Golden Gophers. Just because you just don't expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay. Believable.
And then this one right here is a little also surprising. It's Pittsburgh's 86-68. Now, I know their teams have been good, but they've never really gotten over the hump. They've always been 7-8 year win, right?
Well, I mean, that Kenny Pickett year.
Yeah.
Other than that, though.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating because I don't think Pat Narduzzi had been a great hire, but he absolutely hasn't been a train wreck.
Yeah, he hasn't been bad. He hasn't bbeen excellent. He's just kind of been average to good.
Pat Narduzzi, 8-5, 8-5, 5-7, 7-7, 8-5, 6-5, 11-3, 9-4, 3-9, 7-6, 8-5.
And I think that 8-5 last year surprised people.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's been consistent.
What's the Rentschler? I think Henschler, freshman quarterback, came in and played pretty well.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see another team that you would think would have been better. Here's probably the one I think is the most surprising. Right? Is North Carolina 78-75, considering the talent that they've produced.
Sure. I mean, last year was a stinker.
Yeah, but just generally, they should have been, way better than that. Yeah.
Well, how is Carolina compared to like an NC State or a Wake Forest?
Let me see.
Because NC State,
Wake Forest is 76-73, so right in
that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to wait to find. I gotta look to find it. I'd like to think that NC State is better.
I would think so.
Where you at, NC State?
So I'm just going to try to do some quick math here. College football playoff era. So we're going back to
they're
2014.
92-61.
Okay, pretty solid.
That's really good.
Yeah.
They're ahead of teams like Kansas State. They're ahead of Tennessee. They're ahead of Florida State. Ahead of Florida. They're ahead of Missouri, like Coach Osborne likes to say, and Pitt. Now, Nebraska is 66-79. Which is 2 above Illinois, 1 above Arizona, 2 less than Boston College, 1 less win in the win column than Virginia and Cal. And then, was it 5 wins away from UCLA and Georgia Tech?
None of those are atrocious.
Yeah.
Necessarily. None of those are exactly awe-inspiring,
right.
Company to be keeping, but that's just the thing. I mean, yeah, we know Nebraska's been bad by a lot of standards, but 3-9 and 4-8 has happened. It's been a lot of 5-7 though.
Yeah.
Nebraska's gotten there on
close,
the
but not yet so
precipice.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always. I mean, and then for your Dukies, 81-71. I mean, sneaky good for them.
The Indianapolis Colts of college football.
Sneaky good for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it. That was the end of Cutcliffe. Then couple good years under Elko.
Yeah.
And then Diaz was pretty darn good to start, all things considered. So, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, but I think that's pretty good for Duke football.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah.
Teams like Auburn are 83-69. Obviously, with their recruiting prowess, you'd expect more. Northwestern 74-74. Stanford 72-73. There's not even really notables. Other notable teams. I mean, obviously, you can ask about Colorado. They're 56-86, but they were bottom feeders, long before Deion came in and had that 2-year run. So it's every year before that, they just always firing their coach. So they weren't very good.
Yeah. You might have mentioned it, and I forgot. Where's USC? Probably in the 90s, 80s, 90s range.
Yeah, 95 and 55. Yeah. So they're
actually better than I would have thought for them.
Yeah, they're like right under Texas A&M, ahead of Texas. They got
ahead of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Texas is 96-59, so I'm not sure if they're doing winning percentage or not or whatever it is. But yeah.
Utah, I know we got that on the text line.
They're top 10, 102-49.
I believe that.
Ole Miss, oddly enough, 96-55.
Yeah, that's right. Texas, USC, A&M territory.
Yeah,
I believe
it. They're ahead of Texas A&M and all of them, and the U.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's the eyes of the beholder. You get that schedule and you work it. You'll be, looking, pretty good, looking down from the mountaintop. But I just thought that was interesting because when you look at, where Nebraska's at and where people want them to get, and then obviously with the pressure and the schedule everybody looks at the schedule, it's just interesting to see where they're at because, like I said, if I was a coach, I can't right the wrong from the past, but so we got to really focus on what we're doing now. So I have to recognize what our part is, the Nebraska being where they're at. But ultimately, this year has got to be something where we got to look forward and we got to really break through on some barriers. So that would be beating a top 25 team. I even expanded it to a top 30, 32 team, 34, probably 34 team. If you can do that, because I don't think there's a big difference. But obviously, for the namesake, right, and for the branding, a top 25 team. And you're going to probably face 4 at least a year. We calculated 6.
Yeah.
You'd like to be at least 2 of those, get 2 of those victories. So it doesn't matter how you do it, who you do it to, you got to walk away with 2.
Well, 2 of them for now, right? That's the building block. Can you start to get to?
Okay, we took a huge step. We beat a ranked team, and then now we can try to work to beat them more readily or whatever. So,
and if you're playing well enough to beat those calibers of teams, you would like to think that pays dividends when you play outside of those teams as well. Now, we've seen inconsistencies where you can look like world beaters one day and then get beat by, Sisters of the Poor the next. But I think we've seen enough from Nebraska, Jay, that, has Matt Rule lost? He hasn't had like the late Riley or the late Frost level upsets yet, right? Now the first year, staring down the barrel of bowl eligibility and going 0 for November was bad, right? Losing that Michigan State team.
That was probably it.
Was atrocious.
Yeah.
But other than that, does Matt Rule had like an unforgivable loss? And again, that's such a low bar to clear. I'm not trying to say, things are so much better, but I think Nebraska's generally at least found ways to win in the non-conference games. And, generally taking care of the bottom half of the league, which Nebraska has been closer to than not recently. And so my point is, if Nebraska is playing well enough to beat top 25 to 32 teams, I think Nebraska will be in, much better shape because I think that'll translate into games against, competition that's ranked below.
Yeah, and you want to beat those top 25 teams, and then, what'll happen is people's expectations of where will be, it has to be a team that was ranked when you played them and when the season ends, or it's a top 25 team, but we need you to actually start beating guys like, 18 and higher. I think if you're able to beat a top 25 team or 2, obviously next year, then that means you should be able to compete and not get blown out. That means every game should come down to the wire when you're playing the likes of Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, or whatever, and or whoever, or whoever else is on there that's going to be ranked. And so, I thought that was pretty interesting. Obviously, Nebraska, when you go through a run where everybody was progressing and we were regressing, many, many years ago, it can kind of, I guess, fog your vision on when you look at something like that. So, we shall see. I thought it was really interesting. Had some good text coming in. And, I think 62-96, I think he's referencing when Nebraska went up to Michigan State. That is a hard game. I'm going to tell you about that game.
He said UCLA at home in 2024. Nebraska gets down big and then makes the comeback to fall just a possession short.
And I think I think the way that game looked, whereas the UCLA team, Deshaun Foster was the head coach, didn't look really, they hadn't had any like uptick coming in. I did a couple of black shirt breakdowns with that. I saw when they went out, I think they played Rutgers. I saw like a difference in the offense. They were able to run the ball conventionally, and they were playing a big offensive line. But the short area pass game that allowed them to kind of break tackles and get up the sideline hurt Nebraska. But more importantly, their tight end was what was that. So I think Nebraska played them at the wrong time, but that was probably not the best one. I was going to say the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to evaluate the Michigan State game because it was like, okay, you can make it in the first year. You know what happened, obviously, what's going on up there. And you go up there, and I think, for the players that played, I would say, you need to have some more awareness, right? Awareness is obviously, a big need, not only in, sports, but in life. Have some awareness. Like Leavitt was the quarterback.
But they rotated through like 3 guys that game.
Yeah, but but what I'm telling you, Leavitt was the quarterback when he came in, and it really changed the dynamic of the game, because what if I was a player, you need to know that he's looking to get in the portal. He's not throwing for first downs.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they're throwing with him is going to stretch the defense, stress the defense, and he's thinking about throwing touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's what really hurt us, which essentially winning football from a mentality standpoint. And so that was an interesting game in the first year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Michigan State one's more interesting too because Nebraska at least atoned for that UCLA loss.
Yeah.
With the big blowout win over Wisconsin on senior night here in Lincoln. And so, had Nebraska again choked everything away in November, going into it at 5-3, and that UCLA loss would have been the catalyst. But you think about that 23 season at Michigan State senior day, you lose 20-17, but that was a touchdown with like 3 minutes to go. That brought you back within it. And then you nearly had the onside kick. You didn't, and it runs out. Then you play Maryland. You get up big, or not big, but you get up at home and then trickle that one away late. You're not able to muster anything on offense really in the second half. Then you go to Wisconsin. Again, another game that you lose by one score.
Yeah.
You did until you didn't. You're up 14-0, 9 minutes into the game. And then you don't score again until there's a field goal with 3 seconds on the clock to tie the game.
Yeah.
And then you do nothing in overtime. Braylon Allen runs over, through, and around Nebraska to win it for the Badgers.
Do you remember that game? Do you remember Braylon Allen's for long? No, that was 2 years prior.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. I remember the Chubba Purdy, Adrian Martinez impression, the improv on the run. Thought he had a bad groin, but there he is running for it. Threw the bomb then to Jalen Lloyd, where he kind of jumped between two defenders at the end of the route and ended up scoring. You're like, okay, Nebraska's feeling pretty good. They're going to get bowl eligible here. And then that one slips through the cracks, and then he had a chance against Iowa and Nebraska.
Yeah, I think remember the Wisconsin and Maryland game, or the Maryland and Wisconsin game of that year was all marred about when do you go for it on fourth down at home versus away.
That's right.
They did it opposite,
right.
So it was a reactionary play calling, and then everybody was mad anyways. And you know what I mean?
Nebraska fans mad anyways,
right? Because it was at home, and I think what is it?
You go for it on the road. You go
for the tie at home. Mm-hmm. You go for the win on the road. Yeah, and it was the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, is like people are going to be mad anyway, so you just got to do what you need to do, and the execution wasn't there. But I just remember that because they were talking about it on the broadcast and all that stuff, and how much the fans maybe influenced, how they played. But ultimately, in the first year, it was probably that. I don't know what game I would say. I'd say the Michigan State game was probably the most important, just because I think, you were playing a very desperate team. It was senior day, right? And then obviously you had multiple quarterbacks coming in. So that they were trying to throw deep. They were trying to get that transfer portal tape out there. So I would have liked to seen some of the players have some more awareness of what was going on, and what hopefully would have allowed Nebraska to go to 3 bowl games in a row if you count the next 2 years. So, yeah, but anyways, that those stats or whatever, looking into it was very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. There's another one, Austin.
Okay.
Who do you think is the most hated team in college football right now?
Most hated team in college football?
Mm-hmm. Overall.
I mean, Texas Tech has probably made the biggest waves.
That's the answer.
Texas Tech.
And they said Michigan is only like in Ohio. And they were after that, even Michigan people hate Texas Tech more than Ohio State. That was pretty funny, man.
I think the Washington Post did something about the biggest rivalries in sports, and they interviewed some just people on the street sort of thing, and they were saying that Michigan and Ohio State is a bigger, more resonant rivalry than like England Argentina in soccer. Which, here's the thing, I love it. I love the American centric sports mindset there to say that Michigan and Ohio State is bigger than any international soccer rivalry. It's absolutely incredible to me.
Yeah.
Which is why I would maybe take that with a grain of salt. Like, if I'm Michigan, wouldn't I be thanking my lucky stars that Texas Tech is creating so many problems? Like, Michigan was the problem child for 3 years, and it's still going on.
Yeah, we might be.
I wouldn't hate Texas Tech. I would say, hey, thank you guys, appreciate it. That's some heat off our back.
We got Ward Emmanuel sighting. Is he still employed?
As of now, they had their regents meeting, and apparently athletics was not discussed at this one. So, got another month. He's hanging on.
See, look, the more he's around, the more we'll be okay with it. More tries to sweep it underneath the rug. So, I just always thought that was very interesting, where Texas Tech went from last year. Pretty cool story out of nowhere. Of course, they spent, but a pretty cool story, right? And everybody was every week seeing what they were going to do. It. Obviously, you got a really good coach, McGuire, players, so forth and so on. Now everybody hates them based on because they got Sorsby.
Yeah,
like death to Texas Tech. Yeah, so that's pretty, that's pretty wild. But that's how it happens, man. I always tell people, the parade or the chariot that they bring you in on will be the same U-Haul that they're throwing tomatoes at when they kick you out of town. So you got to keep it somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Fan is short for fanatic, and sometimes they can get a little overzealous, and then obviously make a lot of things a little bit uncomfortable. So, anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. Come back. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman, Old School. We'll talk a little Husker in-depth football. Well, let's talk more about that running back room. I thought about it. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish back-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy, family-friendly menu, and catch all your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets located on 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers, and someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money, and most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on MaintainX have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and save thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try MaintainX free at maintainx.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Old Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Heads up, LES customers, July 31st is almost here. And that's when our Fairfield Street customer lobby is closing for good. The good news, we've still got plenty of ways to support you. Find your best options at les.com.
The crack of the bat. Sizzling concessions. Yeah, that's the sound of summer at Haymarket Park. It's been that way for 25 seasons. And in this city, it's not a matter of if you'll catch a game, it's how many. Safe. That's because there's always something in play for Salt Dogs fans. From saluting our troops to Friday night fireworks, your local tradition plays on. Let's show summer how Lincoln celebrates 25 seasons. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, take the worm, put it on the hook. Now bring your pole back and throw it forward. And just let the fish come to you.
I got a bite! It's a big one, Dad!
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at 23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offer great pay, health, dental, and vision, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back, baby. Jake Foreman, Austin Orman, second segment. Talking a little Husker football, obviously inching towards the season, but more importantly, hopefully a big addition to the running back room. Came in probably late Sunday, and it probably been in the work for a little while. Is it Tiki or Tyke Hayes?
I've been saying Tyke.
Tyke Hayes, the old Penn State running back, Iowa Western for maybe a couple workouts and some Gatorades, and then found his way at Nebraska. Was a highly rated running back coming out of high school, and obviously he was behind two NFL running backs in Singleton and Allen. Was looking for a fresh start. Was looking to level up or go to JUCO and work his way up, which, we questioned, but obviously we had to cut it short the other day. But I think, I think the question I posed to you and maybe some of the texters as well, what do you think it means for that running back room? I mean, it's a late addition. You see it sometimes come across your feed, a kid from Ferris State, Pittsburgh State, or something like that, a Division II, jumps in the portal and they end up going somewhere. And you wonder how, all right, maybe it's just because maybe they've been in the portal and officially finally got picked up or whatever. But for this young man, what does it mean for the running back room? Because coming out of spring, the talk was Jamal Rule and what he would look like after a continued full all season, because he was pressing some of the older guys. And then you saw the versatility of Mosey, or talked about Mosey, and then Nelson, pre kind of issue off the field. It was the breakaway speed and what he did in the game in Las Vegas Bowl against Utah. So, by all means, that it seemed like the coaches and obviously the everybody over there were pretty satisfied with the depth of the running back room. So I'm asking you, Austin, and asking the texters, do you think he was brought in, I wouldn't say, given the starting job, but really, really, encouraged to go and try to take it?
I do, because I don't think he's a typical JUCO or lower level transfer, right? If this had been Nebraska adding, let's say, this year's version of Jalen Gramstad to the roster, that's nothing. Or a running back of that caliber. He came from, a D2 or an NAIA. Yeah. Okay, they're taking a flyer. Maybe this is their way to get him in the door, 1 foot into coaching, right? They like his film, they like his tape. If he's the emergency backup, hey, so be it. They think they can work with it, but there's more to it than that. I don't think that's the case at all, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a Penn State transfer that Nebraska just got. Yeah, I know that he was at Iowa Western for, a few months or whatever. And yeah, I know that every other school in the country had a chance to pick him up, and they didn't, like we talked about briefly on the show yesterday, but didn't play at Iowa Western, was barely on campus. This to me is Nebraska essentially adding a power conference transfer running back, right? This to me is a coaching change move. Obviously, that was a big part of it. He's the nephew of Terry Smith, who was the interim that ended up coaching Penn State to a win against Nebraska last year. Maybe a little bit playing time related as well, though, with both Allen and Singleton out the door, I think, officially, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're off to the NFL.
Yeah, so then you'd think this guy would have been challenging for some playing time. And if you can do that at a relatively successful program like Penn State, if you're good enough to be on that roster with those other two guys, Now, you got to prove it, absolutely, right? Just because you were on the roster and you were in the presence of two really good running backs doesn't mean that you are one. But this isn't just some low-level flyer, and we got an open roster spot. This is a position where Nebraska intentionally went all offseason without adding someone, touting the room, right? Give these guys a chance, right? They'll be good. Just give them a moment, right? We trust our process. We trust these guys. We trust Coach Barthel. And so given that this guy is essentially a power conference transfer, if he's not brought in with the opportunity and ability to compete for meaningful reps, whether that's as the starter in game one or by the time he gets comfortable on campus in the system, I would be shocked. I think he's got to be here for actual legitimate in-game carries.
Yeah, at least a couple of years. I think for him, I mean, he had 3 carries, I think like 18 yards. So let's just assume it was in one game. So I think he still had a redshirt year, but, ultimately he still has the 5 for 5, right? So, I think I look at it like you weigh what you have on your roster right now and weigh what you could have recruited at a reasonable time in this class and look at him because he didn't do anything at Penn State. They all obviously saw what he could do in high school, and they obviously know who he is. They probably trust Coach Smith, and he knows Coach Rule. So that's a little. You kind of cut through the red tape and all that stuff because you're going on a well-respected coach's word and Coach Smith, and obviously it's a family member as well. I think the interesting fact about him, or at least one of them, is homeboy 5'11", 205, and got pretty good athletic ability. Is this the big back, but a big back that's a combo back as well? And this is what I'm saying. Emmett I felt like he always had the ability to run and play big behind his pads even for his size versus where this young man, Hayes, he's like 5'10", 205. That's a hard back to bring down. Trust me, I know. And so, but also he has athletic ability, at least, and also the experience in high school coming out of the backfield. So when you think of a combo back fitting into this system, providing physicality, and essentially you could take over and be the bell cow like that.
I don't know what his 40 time is, not that it's everything, but if he's 4'8" or so, that's probably fast enough to make it work at that size. That leads me to believe he's more of a between the tackles type of guy. We'll see if that's what Nebraska wants to do, but I think if he can get to that second level with a head of steam, he'll be a problem. Yeah. Probably strong enough to fight through some initial contact in the backfield and get positive yardage even if the play breaks down. But as we've seen, Nebraska prioritizes home run speed at some positions, not at others. Yeah. Running back hasn't really been a home run speed position, right? Emmett Johnson had more big plays this last year, but his thing wasn't, he's just all speed.
Yeah.
It's not like go back to like maybe Maurice Washington with the long speed back in the day. Yeah. I think that 5'11", 205 might leave room to add a little bit more, but if he, only goes up another 5 pounds, over the course of however long he's at Nebraska, he's probably fine in terms of where he's at. So you don't put on too much weight and make him purely a third down bowling ball. Because I think from what I've seen, there isn't enough versatility in him to run inside, to run outside, for him to be something like an every down back at some point for Nebraska.
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, varies by position. I think he's playing fast enough, the home run. I think it's one of those things that Emmett got better at last year. Improved his speed in the offseason. Was somewhat of a knock on him, but as he got bigger and stronger, he got faster. So for this young man, it's going to be interesting to see where he comes in. If he has the mindset, I'm just going to take over, and not that the other players aren't capable of warding him off, but when you're late edition, they probably lay it out, what your competition is and what you're coming into a little bit more clear than say like you're coming in out of high school or one of the first portal guys. So
what do you think Nebraska told him to get him to campus? Is this as simple as we have a spot for you and he didn't want to do the JUCO route?
Either we have a spot for you or make a spot for you. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity here. We like our running backs, but none of them played. So if you come in and you're not, against competing for your job, and Matt Rule said you probably went back to for sure Temple is like, look, when I was at Temple, we had that dude, you're putting up numbers. Our last year, our dude Emmett, in your same position, wanting to prove himself and all that, was one of the best running backs in the nation. And he's playing for the Chiefs right now. So I think that's what you could, sell him on. And then, after that, you got to just continue to, build the relationship between player and coach. And so it's always interesting when you look at this type of stuff, how it all shakes out.
If you're another back in that room, what are you thinking to yourself?
Oh, I better get right. You better get right. If you're another back, even if he came, when like Sharp Brown came and that, like even if he came on a visit and didn't sign, but it's the fact that he came a visit, sign, and realistically, you can't say it was production based because he only had 3 carries. So then you're asking yourself, why would that be appealing to a coach when I thought we had a good spring and this guy was his high school tape was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is because they need somebody to take the reins, and so the 3 or 4 man competition, nobody's really stepped up.
Right.
So we're gonna roll the dice and see if he's willing to step up. And most likely, he'll do well just because he's a coach's kid and he knows how to prepare and he knows how to compete.
Yeah, coach's nephew.
Or coach's nephew, that's what I meant, yeah.
I'm not sure, beyond that. But I think that it's a couple things. Number one, I think it's a challenge in terms of, you went all offseason and just now, what did you not see from me as a player all summer,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I've been here. This guy hasn't. What makes you think he's better than me? So I think I would hope they take it as a challenge in the right way, not just coach doesn't think I'm good enough and I'm going to throw myself a pity party. I think that there's also an aspect of, for it being a relatively young room, I think this is in some ways a character test. How is this room going to handle it, right? It's just business, right? It's just football, but there are young guys in there. Who's going to step up alongside him and help him learn the playbook, right? Who's going to help give another guy his best chance to steal their job? Because we like to believe, we hear from Matt Rule all the time about how important character is. And so you can't take an addition like this personally, right? You still got to help the guy with his playbook and help him make sure he doesn't get lost on the way to class. But you still want to kick his butt when you're between the lines, right? Every guy in that room should think, this is my job to lose. I do this, and this really well. Here's what I've been working on based on what coach has told me. I think I've done enough work to shore up my deficiency. Now it's time in essentially 2 weeks for me to lay it all on the line and go earn that starting running back job.
Yeah, I mean, I would take it no matter what is. And it's always good to maybe take it personally, but keep it internally in this type of environment. So I would take it personal. Like maybe I didn't step up as much as I thought I did. But I can, find a way to do better in the face of competition. So that's what I would take it at. Now I'm sure some of these guys, but then it's only natural to wonder what's going on. What was he promised? What were the conversations like? And then how the reps going to go in practice and all that. I mean, so it's a tough situation for him, but at this point, Coach Rule and staff got to win, and so they're trying to get the best players possible. It doesn't matter when they get here.
Right, and we hear all the time, competition breeds success. Iron sharpens iron and whatnot. That's only true if there's true competition. If it's just, 5 guys, the 5 names we've heard, all practicing the same position but not working together and not taking drills as competition, whether it's, live drills in, 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're not taking those seriously and not using them as competition fuel. Well, then competition is not going to breed success. Competition is not going to make you better. It's the operate individually, think collectively sort of thing. What's my job in this? The best way for me to get better is to push everyone else to be better, because the harder they work, you would hope, the more it would motivate me, in this case, one of the running backs, to work even harder to match that level and prove that, I know that guy's a good player. They recruited him for a reason, but guess what? They recruited me too. They kept me in this room for this long, gave me this many reps. They see something in me. Use that confidence to not turn inward and say, well, what did I not do?
Yeah.
Why are they recruiting over me now? And just say, okay, whatever. What's one more guy I got to beat out on the way?
Yeah, because if you handle your business, everything will work itself out as long as you get the opportunity to do so. And I'd like to think there's not too many coaches out there, especially in this day and age, that with the amount of pressure that you have to win, that are not going to play their best players. So, yeah, that's a good a good point and good advice. Just because, like I said, I could reference me and being a red shirt, and they bring in Tony Ortiz, and obviously you could very just tuck your tail and be like, all right, well, eventually they're going to put him in there, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna cause them to lose some sleep. I want them to show them the best, and they end up working itself out. So competition is competition. I think Coach Rule said he wants to make sure that every position has a ton of competition, and it's going to play the best man that that wins. But it doesn't matter when they get here in the offseason. A position like running back, I will say this is a little bit easier to get a late addition that will pay off big. And I wanted to say this is that, very rarely do you get these, even in before the transfer portal. But when you think about it, and you think about Scott Frost and UCF in that year, they got Mike Hughes, a cornerback that was originally at North Carolina. Something must have happened off the field. Nothing big, but something broke it, either a team rule or multiple team rules. He falls into, UCF's lap. Right. Then on top of it, I think it's the tight end. It was Akins, I think, who went and played MLB out of high school, baseball.
Oh, interesting.
All right. Ain't good. Well, I'm play tight end. So now you just got two professional. One's a first round pick in 6 months, from the, you start in August. Next year is first round pick. Then you have the tight end that's in the second or third round. Then you have, remember the linebacker with I think he got his hand cut off at the wrist for them?
Oh, yeah.
Griffin or Griffith? Griffin.
Yeah.
Griffin,
Yeah,
right? The linebacker.
yeah.
Well, his brother was a second round pick.
NFL.
So very rarely does it happen, but when it does happen, hopefully you get that type of return on investment or that return on that surprise. Because that's a heck of a surprise. I mean, that changes your dynamic of your defense, and hopefully this changes the dynamic of this offense to be more explosive, better in and out of the pass game as well.
One of those things you can't plan on necessarily.
Oh, no.
You can't plan on one of these guys turning into, I think it was Shaq Griffin in that case, right?
Shaq
You can't
Griffin.
count on, someone turning into Sam Hoiberg every year.
Yeah.
But when you get him, you got to take advantage of it. You can't not pour into that part of the roster because you never know when you're going to get one, right? Those guys need reps just the same, whether it's because they're from a small school or somewhere out of the way, or maybe they don't match the eye test necessarily physically. There's only so much that you can change.
Yeah.
Very little of that when you get to college. The only thing you can do is turn it into as, meritocratic a process as you can. Let the pads do the talking, as you might say.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Majority of this game and success at the college level is mental. And it just doesn't, the mentality or the mental part just doesn't turn on and off when you're getting ready to get to go play a game. That's the easy part. The Monday through Friday is a hard part, but what you do on Saturday makes Monday through Friday worth it. So the competition is thick. Would also stick. We're up against the clock. We're gonna take a quick break, come back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The crack of the bat, sizzling concessions. Yeah, that's the sound of summer at Haymarket Park. It's been that way for 25 seasons. And in this city, it's not a matter of if you'll catch a game, it's how many.
Safe.
That's because there's always something in play for Salt Dogs fans. From saluting our troops to Friday night fireworks, your local tradition plays on. Let's show summer how Lincoln celebrates 25 seasons. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, take the worm, put it on the hook. Now bring your pole back and throw it forward. And just let the fish come to you.
I got a bite! It's a big one, Dad!
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. At A1 Automotive, we believe every vehicle has a purpose, and every customer does too. That's why we focus on dependable repairs, honest recommendations, and exceptional speed in service. Our goal is simple, to help you travel confidently and safely wherever life takes you. A1 Automotive, driven by purpose, built on trust. You can visit us online, a1autolincoln.com, or visit us at either of our 3 locations, 5110 State Hill Drive, 1117 L Street here in Lincoln, and our newest location, 408 Main Street, Seward, Nebraska.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at 23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offer great pay, health, dental, and vision, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Quick segment here on this Thursday. The weeks go by fast, my brother. Do you hear me?
I'm right there with you. Oh, yeah.
They go by fast, man. So I know for these football players that are about to get busy, these days are going by quick. Like I said, I compare it to when I used to get in trouble at school. I know I had to go home. School is slow when you don't want to be there. It's fast when they want to.
When you need to stay.
When you stay. So hopefully they're still preparing like they need to. But one thing that we'll get into real quick is they have the British Open on. Today's the first day. And it's a lot of things about the British. The one thing I like about the British Open, I'm an early riser. It's on TV early because they're playing over there in England now, in Southport, England. They say Tiger Woods said this is the hardest course he's ever played. It probably could be. Weather has a big factor.
You say between the weather and just the layout of the course, I'm not shocked to hear that.
Yeah, and it's a little surprising, hearing it from him, considering that he's so good. But none of the big name guys are up high in the leaderboard. Bryson DeChambeau is at 3 under, so he's 2 back. You got Robbie McIntyre, who's shown some life on the PGA Tour. He's a 3 under. Francisco Molinari, famous for winning. I think he won a previous British, or maybe he won a Masters, but he is the one that was paired with Tiger and dumped it into I don't know, I think that's hole number 12.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And he had the 3 or 4 shot lead. And it hadn't been the same since.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on a magical run. One of my favorite golfers of all time is tied for 13 at 2 under. Henrik Stenson. My man wore the Oakleys till they went out of style. And primarily played with a 3-wood. Scotty Scheffler is 2 under, so 3 back. Let me see.
Morikawa's at 2 under.
Morikawa, yeah, is 2 under. I was going to say John Rahm is 1 under. Yeah, Cam Young. John Rahm is 1 under, so he's 4 back. Tyrell Hatton, who if you're not familiar with golf, but you want some laughs, just Google Tyrell Hatton mic'd up.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah,
it is incredible.
Just the way that he goes about his business is magical.
Mm-hmm.
He needs, and I just wonder how many conversations he has with himself just in his everyday life. Because he'll talk in the third person. He'll talk to his caddy and caddy not know what to say, and then he'll talk to fans and when he hits bad shots or something like that. So he's definitely entertaining. But we shall see.
Would you ever want to have been a caddy in a different life?
Man, you know what? It wouldn't have been bad. I mean, I'd like to be caddy if it was like a really good player like Tiger Woods. But did you ever hear about the story about Bones Mackay and Phil Mickelson?
No.
Well, obviously they split up because towards the end, Mickelson owed him $900,000.
Bones says it's not me, it's you.
Well, they said it was mutual, but it had been brewing for a while. They've been together for 20, 25, 26 years.
Okay.
Families are close, and I'm sure he started to see a different side of Phil Mickelson. But Phil Mickelson, I think, won like either a FedEx Cup or something. They get 10%. It was like $900,000. And I guess after the majors, I guess there's a tradition that, say I'm the golfer, you're my caddy, and we win the Masters, you keep the flag. Well, Phil Mickelson took the flags, all 4 of them. So people used to come to his house because I guess before the Waste Management, he'd have every players and caddies, families over, and they're like, well, where are your flags? And he would kind of like cover for Phil, but then everybody saw it start to irk him, and then he owed him some money. Now Phil paid him $800 of the $900,000, but didn't pay him the $100,000. But Phil Mickelson finally sent him the flags, right?
Okay,
right. But I guess tradition is you just take the flag, not sign. Phil Mickelson signed all 4 of his flags. And then
here's more resale value for you.
Here's the messed up part about it. Said Bones Mackay was so mad. We've been together for 25 years and all this. And he said, I had both knees replaced. And this is how you do me. So to answer your question, I'd like to be with a good golfer. I don't know if I want to walk that much to get my knees replaced.
I feel like there's just such high turnover potentially for caddies, right? You find a guy that you get along with, you see the game the same way. You come through for him in a big spot sometimes. That'd be great. But you get in a stretch of golfers where they're changing caddies every few months. Oh, these 2 tournaments didn't go well, on to the next. I think there's some real risk there.
Yeah, there's some. Well, and plus, like if the golfer isn't playing well, then they like, you need to switch something. You're not going to switch your financial advisor. You're not going to switch your agent. It's like your caddy you could be doing everything you need to do, and he's just not playing well, or everybody else is playing better.
Or maybe your agent says, hey, you're essentially the head coach of your own golf team, but here's this other defensive coordinator caddy that I think's better for you. So you're going to hire him, right?
Yeah, or a new swing coach or something like that. So I think they know what business they're in, and you just want to make sure you have a good, boss or whatever. And if you're a really good caddy, you get picked up. So
I'm
sure that it's a lot of travel and a lot of fun times. I mean, I wouldn't mind being a caddy, wouldn't have minded being a caddy, but on a hot day like today, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I could make a good income doing it, but just never know. So anyways, tune into the British Open, but more importantly, tune in to us tomorrow here at the Ticket. Me and Austin Orman, Old School, brought to you by Graham Tire, 3 to 6 tomorrow. We'll holler at you.